watching today and those that are listening.
Hey, love you all Black for watching and tuning into Black Issues. Black egg, woo! We have a verdict, everyone. Breonna Taylor. Let's listen to the black man that they hired to sit there and tell us to shut up and get over our emotions and our feelings about this issue. And now he's answering questions. How much fun is that?
Grand jury proceedings are secret, and so I'm not going to get into the
grand jury proceedings.
Details about that proceeding. What I will say is that we presented all of the information, and they ultimately made a determination about whether to charge. In this instance, they decided to indict Detective Hankinson.
One question.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm sorry, say that again. So it's a lot of craziness right now. He's answering questions or not answering questions, but he's just black. That's all that matters. He's black. There's words coming out that don't say burn it all down. That's all that really actually matters.
Because they were fired upon.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to others to make determinations.
See?
We have vigorous self-defense laws in this state.
Yeah, he's not representing somebody black. He's not representing a father. He's not even representing America. He's just black and hired to use the law to excuse what is obvious. Yeah, talk about the evidence. Yeah, talk about the evidence.
Statements that
can you all hear? It's loud enough.
By officers there the night or the morning of March 13th show that they did knock and announce. The important
there we go.
Here is that information was
comments
by another witness.
Send in the clowns. Yeah, it's just total bullshit.
To apartment 4,
he's just talking.
That information and said that there was a knocking and announcing by.
There's a knocking and announcing. They're just giving details. They're just talking. The witness was a civilian. None of this matters. I mean, like, I don't even know why they even bothered having the press conference. I guess they just have to go through the ceremony, the pomp and the circumstance of it.
It's important to step back and recognize that what we did was uncover all the information.
You uncovered all the information and then found out what?
The morning of March 13th.
The morning of March 13th, and?
That information to the grand jury.
And?
The grand jury had every piece of detail.
Every piece of detail.
Their assessment and their judgments. And ultimately, their conclusion was that the decision needed to be made to indict Mr. Hankinson.
Mr. Cameron, Rukmini Kalimaki with the New York Times. Right here, sir.
Yes,
hi, 2 questions for you. Number 1, you said that she was shot 6 times, yet her death certificate says 5. Can you please explain the discrepancy? And the second thing is, journalists in this room, myself included, have taken apart that apartment complex looking for witnesses to the point that you made about the knocking and announcing. Of a dozen witnesses that I spoke to, only one, a man who was directly upstairs, heard them announce. Do you think that's enough in the middle of the night when somebody is asleep?
One knock.
For just one person.
Yeah.
In a tight-knit apartment block to have heard that. Is that
one knock.
Sufficient?
Is that sufficient? Is this how we do?
Try to answer your second question first.
Oh, the second question. Yeah, let's see.
Your question was, is it enough for me? I think the more pertinent question
is enough for the law.
The evidence provided to the grand jury.
The evidence provided to the grand jury.
They got to hear and listen to all the testimony.
You know,
and made
it's just a lot of talking. It's just a lot of talking.
Was the one that needed to be indicted, knowing all of the relative.
I mean, all he had to say is, you really think that a black woman is going to get justice? She's not. Drop the microphone and no press conference. It's a waste of electricity. It's a waste of our mental energy. It's just bullshit. It's just all bullshit. And people are text messaging me. It's a lot going on. It's a lot.
That was lodged, and the bullet might be too generous a term. There was an object that was lodged into into one of her feet, and so that
the bullet was lodged into one of her feet.
Referred to as the 6th, I guess, projectile. Are you going to
6th projectile? What? The woman is dead. Okay, you're calling a bullet a projectile? It's just ridiculous.
Well, I am right now.
This is the worst press conference ever.
I think it is our practice.
It is literally
because it is an
inhumane.
ongoing FBI investigation to revisit that question, but at this point, I don't think it's appropriate for us to release any information.
And he's so non-emotive about the whole thing. It's so ridiculous. I mean, this is the problem. When you're Black and you are hired, when you get these seats at the table, what kind of Black are you? And what do you do when you get a seat at the table? You do nothing. You articulate the narrative that they give you, which is Black people aren't valued in our society. That's what this is. So ridiculous.
Again, all the evidence was given to the grand jury.
The evidence was given to the grand jury, so we want to just like do this whole pomp and circumstance that we have the rule of law, we have laws, we have a procedure for everything, and we have to follow it. That is all to say, we value the procedure and the process more than we value the law, what is obvious, and your emotions about what is obvious. He already said it. Providing information. Bye, bye, bye.
In any investigation,
He's gonna school us now.
Investigation,
Criminal investigation.
Best practice.
Best practice.
Whether on the state or the federal level,
Tell us.
is to not make too many specific comments about the investigation because you do not want to compromise.
You don't want to compromise the investigation. So the investigation can't be biased. But the reason that these Black people are being killed is because of bias. You all see this? Okay. No.
Obligations continue now. Because we have a responsibility to pursue the prosecution of Detective Hankinson. It's my judgment very early on that we needed to take this case in the Attorney General's office. As you know, the Commonwealth's attorney was conflicted out of this case because of
it's a lot of words. It's a lot of talking.
Farm the case out to another Commonwealth's attorney in one of our 120 counties. Instead, I did not do that because the resources that we have to bring to bear and the relationships that we
He's
have
just talking.
with our federal partners, in my judgment, were needed to uncover the truth in this case. And part of the reason the investigation took so long is because we needed to make sure that we were doing a thorough job of looking at all the facts and gathering all the materials, interviewing witnesses, making sure that all of our people felt confident in their presentation to the grand jury. I will remind you.
Remind us, yeah.
Friday, we were still interviewing people in this case. And so the length of it is because this
It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of talking. Thorough and fair. This is how justice is used to actually not get justice. All of these processes and procedures and all these words are then used and put in front of you to sit there and say, oh, okay, there's a process, all right. And then they put a Black man to sit there and say it. So to make you feel even more like, oh, okay, well, I guess I trust that.
Their ability to scrutinize and make an independent assessment as well. And so the length of the investigation was a reflection, I hope people understand, of how important it was that we got this right.
We got this right, yeah.
And we did not.
Yeah, we did. We got it right. But what did we get right? The fact that a woman was killed because she's Black and you don't care. What is this that you're trying to get right? Things that should not have happened in the first place. You got two things wrong. You got the fact that she was killed, that was wrong. And now you got wrong what you're gonna do for consequences, which sends a signal to police that you can do it again.
I'm sorry. I won't get into what our private conversation.
Oh, don't get into our private conversation. No. We don't. That's not process.
This is just another example of the Black community not getting full justice.
Yeah,
what
Black man.
do you plan to do to calm a community that's long?
Calm a community. It's not even about calm. It should not happen again. It's not about our emotions. You see this? The pain, the black ache.
Brought about by the tragic loss.
Tragic
Taylor.
Tragic loss. Really?
I understand that. As a attorney general who is responsible.
Who's Black?
For all 120 counties in terms of being the chief legal officer, the chief.
I see all your comments.
Law enforcement officer. I understand that.
You understand that, Blacklivesmatter, yeah.
How painful this
Just gonna
is.
turn my phone off. This is too much.
And which is why it was so incredibly important for make sure that we did everything we possibly could.
Everything we possibly
to
could.
Cover every fact. And I know, look, this team, myself, the members of the representatives of the Attorney General's office have taken a lot of criticism and scrutiny.
Scrutiny.
But that scrutiny in many ways was misplaced because there was not a day the people in this office didn't go to sleep thinking about this case, and it wasn't a day where the
Well, they didn't do anything.
Is getting to the truth in this case. And obviously, again, the criminal law is not meant to respond to every sorrow and grief.
Oh.
And that is
Oh.
true here.
There's some quotes in this press conference, some gems. Wow.
The loss of Ms. Taylor.
Wow, the criminal justice system is not to respond to every grief. Wow.
Something was to happen to me.
Wow, they got a good one in him. Wow, they chose the right black for this one. Oh, he is vicious. Wow.
I found it very hard. And I've seen that pain on Ms. Palmer's face. I've seen that pain in the community.
But we're about law and order and justice and the process.
In the agent's
See?
office was to make sure that we uncovered every fact.
We uncovered every fact. Trust that we did that. And so we're going to stand here in suits and no emotions and tell you to calm the fuck down and that we have the National Guard.
And the question of what I'm going to do.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I've talked to partners in the community about how
you go tell them to calm down.
Constructive member of any conversations moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize in my remarks I mentioned the fact that we'll be establishing a task force.
A task force. Here we go.
Best practices.
Best practices.
So
He's good. Bullshit.
In this platform to help.
Sir, this is Maria Sacchetti with the Washington Post. Just had a couple of quick questions.
Couple of quick questions.
Hi, sorry, over here in the back. Just wanted to double check. Were manslaughter? Did the grand jury ever consider the charges of manslaughter, reckless homicide? And if not, could you please explain why? And do you anticipate any other charges in this case?
No other charges. That's it.
Say that a little louder. I think I got.
Sure. Did the grand jury ever consider manslaughter or reckless homicide? Or
Yeah, they did, and they didn't do it because it don't matter.
Please explain why. And
Yeah, why they didn't.
Other charges or
That's a good question.
Is this it?
Why are the charges so weak?
The specifics again of the proceedings themselves are secret, but what I will say is that
The proceedings are secret.
Our team walked them through every homicide offense and also presented all of the information that was available to the grand jury, and then the grand jury was ultimately the one that made the decision about indicting Detective Hankinson for wanton endangerment. I think that in terms of what happened the wee hours of March 13th, in terms of that particular or specific date, and what happened that night in the apartment, I think it is unlikely that there will be any additional.
No more charges. I don't know why he kept talking. No, he's just there, everyone. He's there. He's black. He's black on the outside. He ain't black on the inside. He's not on our side. He doesn't care. He's getting his 6-figure salary. Like.
And then also, did you present to the grand jury with any charges against Mattingly and Cosper?
Well, so as to your first question, what I think you asked about was, yes, the reports that were provided to us by the Kentucky State Police and then the FBI as it relates to ballistics. So initially we got the report from.
This is a lot of talking, everyone. It's just a lot of talking.
About making a determination into that fatal shot.
This is like, like explaining to your children why you can't go to Disney World this year. Well, I know you really want to go to Disney World, and Disney World is a lot of fun, and a lot of your friends have gone to Disney World, but you're not going to get to go this year. We just can't, and I know you're crying, but crying doesn't mean you get to go. So we're not going to take you to. I mean, that's basically what this press conference is. It's like the parents aren't listening to you. It's like why you must go to Disney World. They just don't. You're not going. You're not going, and that's it. That's it. That's it. He sounds scared. He's getting his check.
That Mr. Cosgrove fired the fatal shot.
And you know what? 2 seconds later, white supremacists will sit there and start a GoFundMe to give him some more money.
Well-respected FBI.
Because he's doing their bidding. Trust me, he's fine.
That said, it certainly
I
creates.
can't find my
some
poop
issue,
emoji, which is the oddest
in terms
thing.
of,
Tragedy.
providing
Where's
that
my poop
information
emoji?
to the grand jury and providing that at any subsequent
Here it goes.
prosecution. And so
It's just so much poop.
From our judgment, important to provide both of those to the grand jury, and then ultimately let them make a determination about what to do with that
he doesn't.
information.
Were they presented
He's not doing.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Were they presented with any charges for Mattingly or Cosgrove?
Well, what I would say is that they will walk through all the homicide offenses.
You know,
And with that information and the information and facts that were provided to
he don't
them,
care.
that we uncovered in our investigation.
Karen, hi.
The detective
He doesn't care. The poop paradigm, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You know, we're still gonna have a lot of like respect during this press conference. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. You know, whatever your pronoun is. Like, you know, all of those things are still in place. We're still gonna wear a suit. You know, the lighting is good. The American flags are up. You know,
So what I would say
the
is,
seal for Louisville is right there in the center as where it should be. Everything else is fine. Everything
related to Mr. Walker, that's a separate,
perfect.
so I'm not going to have any comment on that. This team.
I mean, I think he should get an award for this. I mean, he's so good. Clap it up for him. He's so good.
About the racial makeup.
The racial makeup of the jury.
Well, I'm black. And
I'm black.
Speak for the entire department, and I hope that will satisfy that question.
He's black. So there you go. He's black. That satisfies that question. He is black on the outside, but on the inside, he bleeds blue.
I know that you said the investigation has obviously taken months and it was presented to the grand jury Monday. Can you tell us when did the grand jury actually
Make the decision?
Deliberate? Did they begin
Yeah,
it
because
on
it's
Monday or
Wednesday.
Tuesday? And that was this week, correct?
Yeah, of this week. Yeah.
The
Yes.
grand jury was presented with the information today.
Mhm.
I won't get into the specifics of when they began.
How long they had a chance to not give a fuck? Oh yeah. How long? How long? How long?
They started.
They got a few orders of Chipotle in, you know, and then
And concluded sometime before noon.
Before
So
noon.
they heard,
Yeah. They had 2 days to sit there and eat Chipotle and decide on what they already knew what they were going to decide. That's great.
From them. And I hope that satisfies you.
I hope that satisfies your question. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to ask you a follow-up.
Tell me a little bit more about this task force. You know, Senate President Stivers and Representative Scott are introducing warrant bills for the next legislative session. Are they going to be on this task force?
Are they going to be on this task force
Information
for racial, you know, for better policing? What is this? Yeah, what is that? I didn't really think it through. I pulled this out of my ass crack.
In the remarks that we are certainly going to have elected leaders on this task force, and I imagine that some of the policy questions and some of the policy proposals that have already been put forward. And
This is what our children are witnessing, right? This is my Black Lives Matter baby. This is my All Lives Matter baby. This is the world they're witnessing.
Recognize that this task force is being established not to demonize any one side or any one department or agency. I think it's a healthy thing for the Attorney General from time to time to be a part of a conversation with all 120 counties. I'm not talking or singling out any county specifically, but with all 120 counties about best practices that can be utilized. I had a recent conversation with somebody that said there is always.
I think he took a Valium and a Xanax before the. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how can you be black and stand up there for an hour and say this shit? You know, like it's. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, we can wager what drug cocktail he used in order to be black and be on that stage. You know, in Louisville. Isn't that where Muhammad Ali is from? Isn't he from the same place? Like, dude, you're black on stage from the town that made Muhammad Ali, and you're up there just making a total mockery of 400 years of racial oppression with your goddamn suit and tie on. It's ridiculous. Can I remind you all of the timeline? I love you, Adam. He doesn't want to get into specifics. That is, I need to have a t-shirt. I don't want to get into specifics. That is a fucking t-shirt. I don't want to get into specifics. He's so good. He should work for Trump. He should work for Trump. What are you doing? Why are you just in Louisville, Kentucky? Like, you're not really making that much money. He should do this for Trump. He's so good. He should be Trump's new press secretary. I don't want to get into specifics. He's so good. We have to talk when you come on. So much to unpack. You want to talk about unpack? Hello. I love you, Black. Yes. It's BlackIssuesISSUES@gmail.com. I forget to say, support Black Issues Issues on GoFundMe. On I'm always like the issues, but also support me. Thanks. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Contact me, BlackIssuesISSUES@gmail.com. Let's talk about it. I'm constantly thinking of things to produce, media, all of this. These are my twins. Black Lives Matter. Allie the Ally, and this is All Lives Matter Alma with her Confederate flag, and Keith made it. Keith has been watching. He made these props. So cool.
Grand jurors aren't released, but what rule or standard
What standard?
Releasing the racial and gender?
The racial and gender. Yeah. Why are you not? Why can't you get into specifics? Yeah.
You mentioned that Cosgrove fired the fatal shot.
Cosgrove fired the
how many shots?
Fatal shot. It was six or seven shots.
Fired by Mattingly, and how many shots that?
Boom. Oh, I like this journalist. Hello. The last question. Inconclusive. Which bullets? How many shots? This is ridiculous. This woman died, and they're just like counting bullets and not really specific about them. No specificity.
About the makeup of the
Why is my glasses falling?
We might be able to. I need to confirm on that.
I need to confirm. We're just gonna whisper some more bullshit in your ear that you can just kind of fluff. If you can fluff this little bit of bullshit we're about to tell you, because you're a black man, so you know how to say it in a way that constantly black people down. Look,
I think it'd be
just just tell them to calm down. Just tell them
about the
we can't get into specifics. Yeah, we can't say that. I can't. I have to protect them.
Or recommend that LMPD release it.
So because if that's the case, then everybody white in Louisville, Kentucky should be terrified right now. You better sit there and say who these people fucking are, because if not, everybody white in Kentucky should be terrified. Stupid. Stop saying wanton.
We're gonna have time for 2 more questions.
Daniel.
You are cracking me up. Hold on. I'm gonna get you. You're hilarious. That's funny. What do we Asians have to do with this? Leave Bruce Lee out of this, okay? Leave Bruce Lee out of the Breonna Taylor case, okay? Wonton. No more wontons. No pork on my fork. Exactly. You are funny.
From outside of the Commonwealth.
He's sitting here talking about Commonwealth, the rule of law.
Their opinions known should have no bearing on our role as prosecutor and as investigator. In fact,
Justification of cold-blooded murder. Oh yeah, that's what we just witnessed. No more fried dumplings. No pork on my fork, because you know the wontons are made out of pork, right? Oh, that shit is funny, yo. That is funny with the capital.
At the facts as they are, and we can't be in the business. I don't think we want a justice system that is in the business of fashioning facts or laws to a particular narrative. We have to be in the business of presenting the information to the grand jury and ultimately allowing them to make a decision about what to do subsequently.
Last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Last question. Time is of the essence.
So anyone can start. Sorry.
Thank you very much, sir. I wanted to ask if you, if you believe personally that someone should have been charged with homicide or one of the similar
homicide or something. Yeah, like come up with a charge.
What happened after the officers knocked on the door?
Yeah.
Did they hear an answer?
Yeah.
How long did they wait?
How long did they wait?
Everything erupted.
There's so many questions and no answers. No fucking answers. 400 years of this, 400 years.
Again,
no answers. This is about what they decided.
Misconceptions out there is that the attorney general
is that you care.
Was in the business of
caring
charges.
Yeah, he was like, no, we don't care.
That's simply not the case.
Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, it's Kentucky law. We don't care.
Present the information to the grand jury. We dispense with that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
We did it after a protracted investigation.
Protracted investigation. I love this. All of the
That was
facts.
our role. That was
The
our
jurisdiction.
responsibility.
What else did he say?
And we presented
Common law.
everything to the grand jury for them to ultimately make a judgment
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
what to do next. And in this case,
Mm-hmm.
in this instant,
Yeah.
they
In this
decided
instance.
to indict Detective Hankinson. As to your other question about
Just
what
bullshit. We
was
can take a
provided,
timer for the bullshit.
to
How much
the grand
bullshit,
jury,
you know?
I can't get into the details.
Can't get into
of,
the details.
Specifics.
No,
on that
I can't get into
particular,
specifics.
issue.
Yes, sir. In the beginning, you said that you spoke with
Oh, he is so
Breonna
good.
Taylor's family
So
today.
good.
I know you can't tell us word for word what
Look at
they
him.
said to you, but how was the news?
He's gonna be a Fox commentator. He's gonna be the new Trump
Well,
press
it
secretary.
was a,
Yeah.
It was a hard meeting.
Hard meeting. But,
I won't go any further
I
on
looked
the
at my
matter,
bank account and I said, "Let's go through with this."
but it was a difficult meeting.
It was difficult. It was hard. It was hard. Yeah.
Look,
Look, What do you do?
when
Yeah.
I ran for this office,
Yeah.
I ran because I
You
had
care?
some singular ideas in mind.
Okay. But you
and
forgot
gotta
those
know
ideas.
Exactly what issues you'll be presented with.
Issues, black issues. I told you.
And what challenges you'll be presented with.
Mm.
And today was one of those
400
challenges.
years of challenges. 400 years of
To have
challenges.
to, sit in that room.
Yeah, and spew this
provide
bullshit.
the, information
Pull this out my ass crack.
to Ms. Palmer,
yeah.
to other members of the
Mhm.
Taylor family.
Yeah.
It's been a difficult day.
It's a difficult day.
day
It's a difficult day
for everyone standing
for
up
everyone.
here.
Yeah.
This is a difficult day.
Yeah, it's
for
a shitty day.
those
It's
here that have
shitty.
to report this.
So it's a lot of
And
shit.
It's a
Yeah.
very difficult day.
Yeah.
For Louisville.
Yeah. For Louisville, but I'll
all
keep my
of the
job.
Commonwealth,
Mhm.
all of the country.
Commonwealth in the country. Yeah.
I recognize that.
You do. You do recognize that.
And I certainly
But you will keep
recognize
your
the
job.
responsibility that I have
To
help
keep your
in
job.
the healing process.
The healing.
As
the
I noted
healing.
in my remarks, I
Yeah.
hope
Yeah. You hope. Yeah.
that those that are home watching,
Yeah.
those that perhaps have
Have sense.
ideas about being angry or pained by this decision,
Yeah.
I hope we will respond in a manner that respects.
Yeah. So
our
tell
First
them.
Amendment
Tell us
rights,
what to do.
but also respects our responsibility as the Bible talks about loving our neighbors.
Oh, now you go bring up the Bible.
And
Oh,
that we
okay.
can
Oh, okay.
do
All
so,
right.
Keeping Breonna Taylor's legacy.
That's right. Her
in mind,
her legacy. Yeah.
but also in a way that respects our Louisville, our city, the city I live in.
I just said that, Leah.
that respects
I was
all
like,
our
this month.
communities. So,
Let me not use a
you know,
curse
this is
word.
a
This
hard
fool
day.
is on the same state, like
Under no
from
circumstances,
Louisville. I said that. Yeah.
And all I can offer.
This is
that,
ridiculous. He is floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. This
uncover
fool that they
every
have
fact
here.
That was relevant to the wee hours, the morning hours of March 13th. We provided that information to the grand jury, and you all now, whether you're sitting here or whether you're at home,
He's still talking.
know the results of that process.
You know the results. Yeah.
And now we have the responsibility to prosecute
To prosecute.
that indictment,
Yeah.
move forward in that matter.
Yep. One cop out of
But
3.
all of us have a responsibility to work together, to find common ground,
Mm-hmm.
to find ways to love one another.
That's right.
And
To
just
love
be good
one
neighbors.
another.
So that's what I implore
Yeah.
as you all report on this
Mhm.
In a responsible manner.
And you get
like
driven
I
off in
told
an
those that are
armored
watching
vehicle.
On television.
Yeah.
Is that we all have the responsibility of coming together now.
Coming together.
I hope that you will take that charge seriously.
Yeah. Do it.
Our governor likes to talk about Team Kentucky, and I believe
Team
him
Kentucky. There
earnestly
you go. Yeah. Team Kentucky.
in that charge.
Yeah.
And I hope that
Team
that
Kentucky,
extends
y'all.
to the results that were issued here today.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that extends to all of our neighbors.
He is the greatest. This attorney
Thank you.
general right
God
here, he
bless.
really is the great. He is the greatest shit talker on the planet. I mean,
We've been listening to
Gold.
Kentucky Attorney General Dan.
You know what I'm saying? Like 10. You know what I'm saying? Where's my little marker board? 10. He's so full of it. I mean, so much shit. Wow. I mean,
lengthy and at times legal presentation.
wow.
Number one, the Attorney General announcing his conclusion, his legal view that this was a justified shooting. That is to
Justified.
say, in legal terms, a justified killing.
Legal.
Number two,
Legal. Thank you.
he announced that the officer who fired the fatal shot, according to the evidence they have, will not be charged at all.
Yeah,
So
no.
the Attorney General giving us a window into some of what was presented to the grand jury.
So the shot that killed her,
that's
not a problem. It's the other shot that just kind of flew off somewhere.
Not grounds
Uh-huh.
for, in his view,
Go on,
any
Ari.
charge.
Third.
Number 3,
Mhm.
the Attorney General disagreeing with many criticisms of this police act by noting that their evidence supported a witness saying that this was a lawful and announced arrest
So
warrant
it was only one knock.
incident. That is to say that they lawfully announced themselves that it was not a quote no knock warrant. That's a hotly contested matter, but it's certainly
Jesus.
news that the Attorney General finds that conclusion and says the evidence supports it. Item number 4 here, and what was a lengthy press conference, is there is a set of charges against one officer, not the officer who killed Breonna Taylor, and this Attorney General agreeing with the grand
losing
jury
it.
in that and saying they will
I just, like,
continue to pursue
Zoned out for a
that
second.
wanton endangerment charge. And 5th, before I turn to my experts,
Yeah, turn to your
it's worth
experts.
noting
Yeah.
that a lot of what we just heard in its
Yeah.
presentation, even though this
Yeah.
is from an Attorney General who's
Yeah.
a prosecutor and
Yeah,
a law,
who's full of shit.
sounded like a defense.
It did.
We heard many pieces of evidence offered basically to defend or justify
Yeah,
what
this
the
bullshit
officers
verdict.
did.
Yes.
Law enforcement allies will
Yep.
say that was a necessary antidote to much of what we've heard.
Mhm.
Many individuals, including many of the civil rights experts we've called upon, note how unusual it is
Yes.
to have a prosecutor,
black
and Attorney
man.
General,
Yes.
go up and use a forum like this to basically mount a defense for people who were not even charged.
Yes.
Those are 5 brief takeaways from
Yep,
the lengthy
there you
press
go.
conference. As our special coverage continues, I will bring
Lengthy,
back
full of
in
shit press
Professor
conference.
Paul Butler, a former federal prosecutor and NBC legal analyst.
I like him.
And
He's
joining us
bald. He's
back
bald.
on,
Paul
Mark
Butler.
Claxton, who is a retired NYPD detective himself,
Just a
and
lot
director of the Black Law Enforcement Alliance.
Just a
and
lot of
orientation
bullshit, you know? Just
of our breaking coverage as we went in and out of these events. Paul Butler, turning to you first. The biggest headline for those following whether or not there would be any charges related to the killing seems to be the Attorney General announcing here for the first time his view that they know who shot Breonna Taylor and that he views that as a justified shooting. Paul.
Yeah, he didn't get charged.
So the Attorney General had an imaginary trial in his mind and found the officers
Not guilty. Yes.
of any homicide.
Which is an
charge. So
abuse
we
of,
have a
of
situation
governmental
where
power.
the
Like,
officer whose bullet killed Breonna
is not
is
charged.
not charged with any crime.
Any crime.
Another officer
Yeah, who
fired
shot
in a way
into
that
the
endangered
window.
Breonna's neighbors
Yeah,
is
he was
with a
charged.
minor crime.
Yes.
In
There you go.
Kentucky,
And there they
one is
go.
allowed to use self-defense if they reasonably believe that they're subject to deadly force.
Deadly
Remember
force.
the facts, Ari. The police burst into Breonna's apartment. There's dispute about whether they knocked and announced. Cameron says that one witness says that they knocked and announced.
They knocked
What he
and
didn't
announced.
say is that all of the other witnesses, including people interviewed by the New York Times, say that the police did not announce themselves, and that's
So
consistent
then,
with the
so
facts.
that's what it is with
So,
black people. We get into the weeds of
thinks there's a
bullshit.
home
Did they
invasion.
knock? Did they
He
not
fires
knock?
a warning
Was it one
shot
shot? Was a shot in her
against
direction?
one officer
All
in
of
the
this
leg.
instead
And
of
because
throw
of
their
that
asses in
warning
jail.
shot,
Then
the
all of this
Attorney
becomes a
General
thing.
says that all of the weapons that were fired, all of the shooting after that was justified. So nothing that happened in Breonna's house was illegal. It was not a crime. So
There you go.
just if 3 gangbangers had shot up an apartment complex and killed an innocent person, they would be charged with manslaughter or murder.
Immediately.
When 3 police officers in Kentucky,
Right.
according to the
law,
Attorney General, that's not a crime.
No, not a problem.
Ari, that's a legal
It's legal.
prosecutorial way
Prosecutorial.
of saying that Breonna Taylor's life
Doesn't
does
matter.
not matter.
There you go.
Paul Butler, thank you. Detective Mark Claxton, your view?
That Paul indicated, and I thought it was quite interesting because this comes up oftentimes, or thankfully not too often, but when you're talking about that castle doctrine and no knock warrants, those two things can't coexist because the eventual outcome, it will be some fatalities. What we heard from the AG was really a political dissertation.
Yeah, he did.
It was
Yeah.
theater. It was
theater. Yes.
Facts, slogans, evidence,
Yep.
procedure.
Yep.
It was just a whole
It
mix.
was
You gotta pick out
antics.
the legalese.
Jail for police, I think we are rethinking prison. I said that before too. I know. Like, do we really want to abolish it? I said that racial justice would look like the jails filled with bad cops. That would actually. I want the jails to stay. Exactly. I love you, Adam. Bizarre. Oh, subscribe to Black Issues. Subscribe.
It doesn't speak to the loss of human life. What it does do, it does speak to toxic policing culture.
Yes, it does.
It speaks to those who promote it.
Yep.
And what it says is keep doing what you're doing because what you are doing is getting us the result that we want. And
Yeah,
that
which is to
in
not care.
itself is part of what has been and what will continue to be the calls for comprehensive, substantive criminal justice reform.
Yeah, they don't want it.
Police reform.
Police reform,
This
racial justice
indictment
reform,
decision
systemic
is a
racism
dodge.
reform, none of the
It's a
above.
supporting document for not only a biased justice system, but for all that is toxic in policing. Finally, the AG talked about the full examination of the details and the facts surrounding the execution of a search warrant. What he should have focused on the actions of those who participated in the execution of Breonna Taylor.
Mark Claxton and Paul Butler with tremendous expertise. Thank you for helping us understand the news we're learning. Our MSNBC special coverage continues right now with my colleague, Katie Tur. Katie?
Hi there, Ari, and great job summing up all the legal aspects of this story. I've been watching along with you.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
News correspondent Cal Perry, also with me, is Georgetown law professor and former federal
And
prosecutor.
don't you love how like
He's still with us.
justice for Black people is like must-see TV? It's like, oh my God, we have all these experts, we have all these cameras. It's a lot going on. We have all these people protesting and marching. Like, oh my God, Black people, will they get justice today? Oh my God, I don't know. But all the cameras are here.
Is that going to do for the community of
Yeah.
Louisville? What reaction are you expecting to get? And again, we're watching a march right now on the
We're watching a march, okay?
So there's a small group of people, and that's what you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen, making their way around
Okay, so
the
there's a
city.
small group of the Blacks. The Blacks are congregating. They're reacting to the verdict that just came, and you know, they're there, and you know, they have their chants, their Black flag. They might even be singing the Black national anthem. Let's go listen. Yeah, let's go listen.
I know you're going to get into the
Yeah, let's see.
The big picture
Let's
from
listen.
here in Louisville,
Let's look at them.
the police
The
do not
Blacks.
have working body cameras. It's 2020. It's so hard to explain to people how that is possible, that you could have a raid on an apartment on a no-knock raid where the police go in without announcing themselves.
Evidence of the fucked up shit they do. That's why.
An incident report that came out months later that said Breonna Taylor didn't actually sustain any injuries. It smells like a cover-up, and now you have an attorney general and you have a grand jury that is returning charges on one detective, not for the shooting of Breonna Taylor, but for shots that went into an adjacent apartment. So when folks here on the ground, and for 194 days, folks here have been calling for justice on Breonna Taylor. They've been calling for some kind of reform within the police force, within
Some
the way
kind of
that
reform.
Louisville is policed. You have basically what people here view as a not guilty verdict on all three of the officers, because again, Detective Hankinson was not charged in the shooting of Breonna Taylor. He was charged in the shooting of his rounds that went into the adjacent apartment. We will have to see, of course, how it plays out.
How does it play out?
Has played out in the past
What will happen?
Is that once
Will
the
Blacks get their
City,
justice?
That's when people seem to come to the streets. That's when they seem to get organized. And that's when in the past we've seen activity. There is a large presence of National Guardsmen. We saw them pulling in about an hour ago. As you can see, these streets would normally be full of traffic. There is nobody out. That may be a sign of things to come, Katie.
Cal, I know you're talking about police reform. Well, no, the attorney general right there is disputing that it was a no-knock raid. He's saying that they did announce himself, and he says that
did they announce? Did they not announce? Are they marching? Are they rioting?
Attorney General Cal, when it comes to police reform,
What's going to happen? The
there
Blacks.
were
The Blacks.
Those introduced by the mayor, the Louisville mayor, just recently when it was announced.
So after 2 days of Louisville marching, Louisville will probably start doing their goddamn Cupid shuffle, and you know they'll do like parades.
To mitigate the
body cameras do what? Because all the police brutality on body cameras and still exactly. Thank you. It's not about the cameras. It's not about the knock or the no knock. It's not about where the bullet did or didn't go. It's about justice. Thank you, Adam. Thank you.
I don't think it'll mitigate the anger tonight, because I think people tonight are going to react to what they heard from the grand jury.
They can't react tonight. There's a curfew.
And as you said, they came when that settlement came with the family, that $12 million. Obviously a lot of money.
Yeah, the settlement was like, shut the fuck up. We paid you. Shut up.
Supervisor who signs off on the warrant. Body cameras have to be activated at all times before.
Because I've said this before, racism isn't just emotional, it is economic. You probably can't see because my questionnaire thing is there, but that's what it says.
At the door. Let's include in
Right.
the family's lawsuit.
Racism
they
isn't
interviewed
just
witnesses, and they
emotional,
couldn't
it is
find anybody to
economic.
corroborate that information. So again, it
Here.
just goes to show you that you have two different versions of events. You have what people here believe happened that night, and then you have what the police are saying happened.
No, the
And again,
bullshit.
I'll just make this point again because
Yeah,
we've
make
seen
the
it
point.
time and time again here in Louisville. No body cameras, no police body cameras.
No body cameras,
Months
because they don't.
After Breonna Taylor was killed, you will remember there was
some
clashes in this city between Black Lives Matter protesters and the police and the National Guard. And there was an incident in the Western
National
part of the
Guard.
city where
That's what
David
they're gonna have
McAfee,
tonight.
A local member of the community was shot and killed by a National Guardsman and a member of the local police, and they didn't have on body cameras. So it just kind of goes to show you.
Yeah, it
that when
doesn't
you try to
matter.
Tell people here that there was a thorough investigation, that the police looked into it. It's a very hard sell, Katie.
Rebel.
Perry, thank you. Let's bring in Al Sharpton. Al, I
Let's
just
bring
wanna
in Al Sharpton.
remind
Yeah, that's
people
what we
of
need.
the TikTok of that
That's what we
night,
need.
of the night that Breonna Taylor was killed. And this is from the New York Times. According to the Louisville Courier Journal, this is in the New York Times, Mrs. Taylor coughed and struggled to breathe for at least 5 minutes after she was shot. An ambulance on standby outside the apartment had been told to leave about an hour before the raid, counter to standard practice. As
And mind you,
officers
she's a
called the
paramedic.
ambulance back to the scene and struggled to render aid to their colleague. Miss Taylor was not given any medical
aid.
attention. It
And
was
she's
not
a
until
paramedic.
12:47, about 5 minutes after the shooting, that emergency personnel realized she was seriously wounded after her
Seriously
boyfriend.
wounded.
Remember, the cops are there. After
Black
her
issues,
boyfriend
issues.
called 911.
Support Black issues, issues.
I don't know what's happening, Mr. Walker said on a recorded call to 911. Someone kicked in the door and
Someone
shot my
kicked in the
girlfriend.
door and shot
Miss
my
Taylor
girlfriend.
received no medical attention.
No medical
for more than
attention.
20
minutes
after she was struck.
There you
The
go.
Courier Journal reported, citing
there you go.
dispatch logs.
There you go.
I think what we saw there in that news conference with the Attorney General.
You're
and
so
with the
right, Adam.
announcement
It
from the
doesn't
grand
matter
jury,
body cameras. It's not about the body
very
camera.
little-
No,
very
no one
little
cares. There's no urgency.
Acknowledgement
Yeah, none.
of what happened to Breonna Taylor that night. Not only with the shooting, she was in her bed, she was woken up, not only with the shooting, but in the minutes that followed it, and the fact that she did not get aid immediately.
No,
when
she
was
didn't.
bleeding out and dying.
She's bleeding out. She's dying. Yes.
I not only find that outrageous, I also found it outrageous.
Tell us, Al. Tell us, Al. Tell us what else is outrageous.
They were pursuing a male who was already in custody, by the way. But when they saw a wounded female,
Black egg,
why they wouldn't have immediately wanted
done
to
something.
get medical attention for her? Because obviously that was not who they were supposed to be pursuing, even if they were responding to.
Because it doesn't matter. It's total bullshit. The whole thing. The whole thing. From beginning to end is bullshit. What's the most disturbing thing? Hey, let's play that little game. Well, what's the most disturbing?
In this case.
What's the most disturbing?
Or in the grand jury proceedings. that
Yes, Al Sharpton.
addresses the value of the life and the taking of the life of Breonna Taylor.
No, they don't care.
Talking about recklessness.
Yeah, just random bullets. Don't do that. But to shoot her, yeah, you can do that. But don't shoot in the air.
They're not at all addressing
No.
the death and the value of life of Breonna
Of
Taylor.
Breonna,
So
who
when
was a
some of
paramedic.
us that have said justice
Who
for
did not
Breonna,
get medical attention.
Breonna has not been addressed here at all.
I've been woke before woke was woke. Hello, hello. Support Black issues, issues. There you go.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on television.
Ooh.
But when you have the Attorney General, who's the only lawyer in a grand jury to make a presentation, give a defense as to what the shooting policeman, the policeman he identified Cosgrove as the shooter, why he shot and what his intentions were or were not. Where did he get that from?
Where did he get that from?
Testify before the grand jury. I mean, how do they present probable cause and give a defense of those that they are pursuing probable cause on? You're not supposed to try the case in the grand jury. You're supposed to find out if there's probable cause in the grand jury for a crime. It seems to me that the prosecutor,
they don't
did a
care
lot more than that from what he indicated in that press conference.
Paul Butler, this from my colleague Joy Reid. Stop expecting justice from this system. Vote in better political leaders and change the system.
Yeah,
Is it the
yeah.
system,
That's another 50 years.
that potentially
Is it the
failed Breonna
system?
Taylor?
Is it? It's not blurgent, it's not black and urgent. What do we do? For all of the issues.
So under the law, he would have been perfectly justified
in shooting her,
prosecuting these officers for.
But he didn't.
At the very least. Instead, he charges one, mind you, an officer who didn't shoot Breonna Taylor, with a minor crime, a slap on the wrist, for endangering her neighbors. So even when the system is set up so that someone can be prosecuted under the law,
there you go.
If it's a police officer who kills an African-American woman in Kentucky, the law just doesn't apply.
Let's bring in Illinois Democratic Senator Dick Durbin. I want to talk more about the system and the reforms.
Let's talk more about the system and the reforms and the issues.
After this certainly was done after what we saw with George Floyd.
After what we saw with George Floyd, and you know, thanks for being. Was justice served?
There are a lot of questions that are still unanswered, and you've just heard some of them.
Yes or no?
But it really calls into question the responsibility we all have to take an honest look at policing. Yes, there are good policemen, good law enforcement officers.
He didn't answer the question either, asshole.
Risk their lives for us every day.
And he loves talking about all kind of other issues.
Should not be wearing a badge and carrying a gun. Our Justice and Policing Act, which I put together with Kamala Harris.
He didn't answer the question, y'all. I don't know if you noticed that.
Is an effort to try to establish some standards nationwide so we can start to
see meaningful reform
when it comes to
meaningful reform. He didn't answer the question.
Give people more confidence in the outcomes.
More confidence in the outcomes.
Terrible incidents.
Terrible incidents. He didn't answer the question.
What we heard from the Attorney General was that
he ain't blurgent either.
Under the law,
he don't care.
Officers who shot Breonna Taylor, who fired into the home, did nothing wrong in the eyes of the law, according to the Attorney
And what
General.
say you?
Dick
Durbin? What say you?
And they worked within the system.
They worked within the system.
Right. Is the system now more of a problem?
The issue.
When the system can allow a woman to be
killed in her own home.
General 6 times.
Yeah, 6 times.
Lay there dying.
Like they're dying.
Woken up in the middle of the night.
Yep.
Nobody was
no ambulance for her.
Yep. After that raid, no
nothing.
Evidence.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing was.
Oh wow.
They didn't find anything that they were looking for.
Nope, didn't find anything.
The system.
Is the system. Is it the system?
Well, I think it is systemic.
What is systemic? The racism?
People in the system, in law enforcement, no question about it. But as we see more videotape,
the first thing you said was that there's good cops.
Very clear across the United States.
There he goes, Dick Durbin.
That we have exceptional situations that need to be treated.
Exceptional situations that need to be treated.
It's
a lot of words.
From Breonna Taylor's beginning,
Breonna.
It was always about the no-knock warrant, the no-knock warrant. And yet, what I heard today, and I think I got this right from the Attorney General, is they're now arguing it was not a no-knock warrant.
Yeah, because it's not about the no-knock. It's about the blackness.
According to one of the reporters,
it could be anything.
None of the others did. So if it was a no-knock warrant, that's one of the provisions in our reform bill, Justice and Policing bill, that we eliminate.
Black people just need to move. I don't know.
So it's an indication that we've got to step back and take a look at some of the practices, whether it's the chokehold or the no-knock.
Is it the chokehold? Is it the no-knock? Is it what is it? What is it?
In real life.
If Democrats win back the Senate and then win back the White House,
then what do you have?
Bring up relatively quickly next year.
Absolutely.
Yes or no? Oh, see, so he knows how to say yes or no, but he didn't say that justice was not served with Breonna, but he says yes when they get the House and the Senate. So, you know, they're all full of shit, all of them.
I think we ought to make it a priority.
A lot of talking and posing.
Senator Dick Durbin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dick Durbin.
For joining us today.
No solutions in sight. No solutions.
Well to Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Thank you, Al Sharpton. Thank you. Thank you for, you know, must-see TV, which is whether Black people will or will not get justice, and the marching that happens, and the chanting that happens, and the booing that happens when we want to sing our national anthem. Thank you so much. We're going to take our first commercial break.
It is a busy afternoon.
Busy.
To everyone
busy. Because what's her name is still lying in state. It's a total rat race. It's a rat race. It's a shit show. How many other alliterations can we come up with, right? That's hilarious. There you go. Nothing looks better than Black people in the street. What was that thing? You know, photographers are having a field day. We're marching.
They are not for the death of Breonna Taylor.
No, they're not.
6 months and 10 days since she was killed in her home. Former Louisville.
See, like pigs are flying. Okay, like
Brett
doesn't matter. Oink oink.
Faces three
Oink,
counts
oink,
of
oink,
first-degree wanton endangerment.
Wanton endangerment, whatever the fuck that is.
Were not charged at
Wanton
all. In a news conference
endangerment.
following the announcement, Kentucky Attorney
There you
General
go.
Daniel Cameron.
Daniel Cameron, that's his
Taylor's
name.
A tragedy.
Tragedy.
While saying
A
the
blagedy.
officers were in fact justified.
But the
in
officers
their
were
use of
justified.
force.
According to Kentucky law, the use of force by Mattingly
There you
and
go.
Cosgrove was justified.
Now, if he really had some
to protect
balls,
themselves.
he would say, you know
This
what?
justification
This
bars
this
us from
necktie is like a
continuing
noose.
charges
I'm tired of this job. I'm
against
out.
Breonna
But he
Taylor's
wouldn't do
death.
that because he's a punk.
Justice is not often easy.
Now they're
It's
criminalizing
not fit for
her
those
significant
of
other
its
for
opinion.
returning
It does not
fire. Yes, they
conform
are.
to
And then they're
shifting
trying to say, oh,
standards.
we don't know where the other
All right, so
gunshot
that
came
announcement
from.
was
Yeah.
within the last hour. Ahead of that
Thank you,
grand
Jamie.
jury report, though, a very tense situation on
Very
the streets
tense
of Louisville.
situation,
The
yes.
Louisville mayor
How are the
declaring a
Blakes
state
going to
of
respond to
emergency,
this? It's a state of
calling in the National
emergency.
Guard,
Calling in the
and
National Guard.
announcing a curfew starting at 9 p.m.
9 p.m. Get your
local time.
black
There's
asses
so
off
much
the
to
street.
get to. We want to go right now
See,
straight to
so they're
NBC
proactive about the response to police brutality, but they're not proactive to prevent police brutality. Okay? Did you see that? I'm gonna say that again.
Executive director of the African
Oh,
American.
they have Kimberly Crenshaw. She's been busy lately. Poor thing, she had to take a sabbatical. Kimberly Crenshaw, she came up with the term intersectionality.
Dorsey, a retired police sergeant and veteran of the Los Angeles.
They can be
Police Department.
proactive
Cal, let me
about
begin with you.
preventing.
Set the scene for us there on the ground. What are you hearing from folks about
What did I
the
say?
reaction
Shit.
to these charges?
Damn, somebody needs to write that down. What did I say?
People are upset. People are just now sort of reacting.
They are
Obviously,
proactive when
in
preventing
the last few hours, and
the
leading up to
response
that,
to
as you
police
said,
brutality,
the
but they're
city
not
like basically
proactive
the city
about
in
preventing
lockdown. You
police
can see on the
brutality.
end of the streets, we've been talking about it, these huge dump trucks which have been stopping vehicles.
So, you know, a 9 o'clock curfew means that they'll still be out till 10 o'clock at night at least, and they may or may not report live, and the tear gas may or may not be let out. It'll probably be let out by tomorrow. I mean, predictions, right?
The circumstances of that night,
So
between
heavy.
the police and between the family, there's still some
Predictions, right? What's the
the
prediction?
But as you
That's
said,
what I
at the end
predict.
of the day,
They'll still be out till 10 o'clock. By tomorrow, they'll be tear gas, if not tonight, depending on how bad it's gonna get tonight. Okay, so the blacks are out. They're protesting. It's just so much. It's just like must-see TV. Oh, the blacks are out. They got their protest signs. They're gonna have their Molotov cocktails later. But oh, here comes the National Guard. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. The curfew's at 9 o'clock. Will they stay home at 9 o'clock? Will they not stay home at 9 o'clock? Will they still be out? Will they have to clear out the tear gas? That's what's basically happening. It's such bullshit.
The next question, what happens at 9 p.m.?
Exactly. What did I just say?
To 6 a.m. This park has been the site in the past of where people, the Black
They
Lives
just
Matter
had the Kentucky Derby there 2 weeks ago.
Where they've organized marches and where they have indeed at times faced off against
Face off.
All right, Callan, I can hear the helicopter, what I believe to be a helicopter. I assume that is a police helicopter, not a news helicopter that is hovering.
It's a police helicopter. It's a news helicopter. What kind of helicopter? Is it the National Guard helicopter?
Ari, explain the
Is it the
charges
FBI?
against former officer Hankinson for us. And do we know why the charges were limited to so-called reckless or wanton endangerment and not
Wanton is
going
gonna
to
be
shooting and killing of Breonna Taylor itself?
Wanton is already a word. I've used wanton tons of times in my life, but now people are like, "What's wanton? What's wanton? What's wanton?"
You mentioned they're only charged
No, not wonton soup.
3 counts of wanton endangerment against 1. So that's basically a low-level charge.
They are proactive about the response to police brutality, but they are not proactive to prevent police brutality. Boom. What would I do without you, Adam? I had to just release and trust that my BLEXPERTS have my back. Yes, they have my back. This is just ridiculous.
He laid out his findings, what some would
No justice, no peace. The racist police.
that he thought supported it, and why he says today, and this is the breaking news everyone's been
Breaking
waiting
news,
for,
breaking news.
that the Attorney General didn't think there was a problem legally with the shooting of Breonna Taylor.
There
He
you
did
go.
refer to it as a tragedy and talked about condolence for her family, but
Blagedy,
legally,
yeah.
he said he viewed it as a justified killing. That
So,
obviously
you
is
know,
very different from what we're
cheers to
seeing
that,
on the
everyone.
ground,
This is what's
what
going to
the
happen
protesters
tonight. Must see
said,
TV.
experts and analysts have
No
said,
solution in
although
sight,
it
but
is
you know, the
a
media is going to be having
fluid
field
response
day,
to the rule of
reporting
law.
live from
So
Louisville.
we'll
Louisville is
know
now
what
ground
here.
zero
The
for
last one I'd make
the
is
racial reckoning that has not been 2020. So, you know, drink up, everyone. What are you drinking tonight? Beer, wine? What do you? You smoke some weed? Yeah, let's just sit back and watch this tonight, y'all. It's really fun.
Between officers and law
Cheers.
enforcement and prosecutors to protect officers. And I thought what was particularly telling is by stating out loud that regardless of what the grand jury thought, he thought this was a justified killing.
Yeah.
He kind of revealed
He doesn't
a
care.
little bit about what probably went on in that grand jury room, famously secret. So we're not reporting what happened. We don't have quotes.
He can't get into
We now know
specifics.
today what we didn't know yesterday. The Attorney General.
Thank you all for liking Black Issues Issues. The more you like it, the more this video goes out into the universe, the more people who may not really understand what's going on in terms of this racial reckoning or needs a refresher or are racist can see this video, comment as well, and we just could continue to have this I don't know, this racial reckoning live and direct, right? So thank you all for liking Black Issues Issues. Thank you all for sharing Black Issues Issues. Thank you all for commenting. I'm using calm right now. This is like a tincture of herbs. Maybe I need that. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's another t-shirt. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Statements by the police that they knocked and identified themselves on the door were corroborated.
This is not about the knock.
It was corroborated by a single witness.
It's because she black.
One reporter who we'll speak to later on in the program pointed out to the Attorney General there were other residents in the building who did not corroborate.
This is chaga. It opens up your third eye. It has melanin. It's a mushroom.
In his case, I think that would support the argument that you're making, that it shows a little bit of his tell in how he came down on this.
Yeah, he influenced everything.
Was certainly very
questionable,
accommodating to a police view of events.
Yes, it was.
Now, there are those who would welcome that and say, well, the police have credibility, they were doing their jobs. There are others, as we've heard, who say that if they are the ones who are the potential defendants, they don't get the automatic credibility they might in a case where they are more independent.
Well, clearly none of that matters when it comes to defending the police at the expense of Black people's lives. Clearly.
The police said they did it the right way.
There you go.
We found a witness to support that. As you mentioned in the New York Times, I'll be interested to hear that reporter. I talked to many people in the building, and they said they didn't find that. And then likewise, with regard to what was found, with regard to the shooting, the Attorney General also said, well,
clearly, when it comes to defending the police at the expense of Black lives, nothing is fair.
Exactly. There's multiple ways to read that. This is not the first time there's different evidence. He took that to say, well, that adds reasonable doubt that supports the officers. We've heard from many experts who say, well, in traditional cases, meaning literally everyone else, if you're not an officer but you're charged with or facing this kind of investigation, you don't just get the tie going to the runner, so to speak, and say because there's conflicting evidence, it automatically goes to you.
Exactly.
So go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, so to that point, it was the second point that I want to talk about was the ballistic evidence, because the Attorney General said 2 points that, for me at least, seem to contradict one another. He did not say who. They said there were 6 shots that hit Breonna Taylor. One of them was fatal. The FBI said the ballistics showed that it was from Detective Cosgrove. The other 5 bullets, the Attorney General would not assign those to those 2 officers, but he is able to rule out the fact that it was the officer outside the apartment.
Don't you love this? It's all this talking, like no justice in sight, but like everyone gets to be an expert, everyone gets to talk. Absolutely no solutions, just more issues. More issues, no solutions.
Right, I think
and you all can support. I have mugs for sale.
That's why these press conferences, even if they can at times feel frustrating and very.
You feel the energy though. This is like a lot of like, but no solutions. None. Why this thing won't continue to
and bring most of it towards the police side, the police version of
show
the
thing.
Saying, oh well, if there's conflicting evidence.
Even if no knock warrants are abolished, how loud will police need to knock? I love you, Adam. I love you. Is it a light tap of a knob? What's a knob? It can go exactly. Did they knock on the door? Did they knock on like the metal part of the door, the wood part of the door hinge? Like, oh yeah. How far away from the doorknob did they knock? Oh, it can just go on into infinity. I love it, Adam. You're so right.
There is no indictment today, no charges.
Thank you, Ari. We needed to hear that again. There's no indictment. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That was what was called for.
Yeah.
The civil case was settled at a very high number.
Yeah, they gave her some money.
The idea that this was a quote wrongful.
So shut the fuck up. Yes, wrongful. Criminal range. No, we can't get that.
There is no charge for the.
So what does that mean in terms of reparations? That we should be able to get reparations because clearly y'all want to continue the injustice, but then to pay off our silence, right? So give me some fucking money.
Shot and killed in her home in the year 2020, and from start to finish in the entire system, no one is held responsible for that. How much of a blow is this
to the
B12.
protesters across the country who have for months called for criminal charges against the officers in this case.
Go, Kimberly.
Well, of course, let's first start with the fact that it's such a blow to her family. And we have to first acknowledge that the family, like so many other families, are expecting, looking for some declaration, some acknowledgement from the government that they wrongfully took their daughter's life. And that just didn't happen. It's unfortunately an experience that many families have also confronted. I think
because when you listen with Aunt Jemima, you can hear the injustice more clearly.
I think that it reinforces what we have been saying all along.
What have we been saying all along?
That the problem and the solution to this catastrophe was simply prosecuting these officers, and it shows that we still are struggling to understand that this is a structural problem. Everything that we're seeing and everything that you just discussed is part of the structural problem. Ranging from the fact that the officers were there in the very first place.
That's right. In her house.
A no-knock warrant that is known to be a way of engaging and policing
in the hood.
Obviously puts innocent lives at risk, and that is a
look at her prepping herself. She gets to look good. Okay, she's gonna get a Pulitzer out there in the streets reporting live on the blackness. Y'all remember that fucking she ain't saying nothing. I love her, but there's nothing coming up.
Problem of the inequality. So
we
it's
already
not
know this.
a couple of bad apples. It's not a couple of bad acts.
The whole system.
War on drugs. It turns out to be a war on
Black people.
Particular communities. If this kind of thing were happening in well-heeled white communities, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
No, we wouldn't.
So it really is a moment for us to learn, recognize, and elevate the game.
Thank you, Kimberly.
It's not just about arresting the cops.
No, it's not.
It's about arresting this entire system that allows for this kind of.
That would mean no more mass incarceration. No, I want them all in jail.
Obviously, a law enforcement veteran. I want to get your perspective on this.
Don't you love the perspective of law enforcement officials? Isn't it fun? It's so much fun to hear their warped mind of thinking.
They were justified in their use of force that ultimately led to the killing.
They got a black law enforcement person.
To get your thoughts based on the facts that you did.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Yeah, go.
Well, listen, I can't just relegate my thoughts to the facts that he presented, because we know for a fact that department is not opposed to lying. We know that they said there was no cameras present.
Oh, I have a microphone.
Wearing a body camera. We know
so
that
y'all
they
can
said
hear.
that Breonna Taylor wasn't injured, that they actually knocked and announced themselves coming in when they had a no-knock warrant. So why would you announce to begin with? And let's not even get into the fact that you had 16 shots fired.
If you knock, you don't have to announce. I'm so confused.
And the AG wants us to think that's justified. Officers are trained and taught to use only that force, deadly force, necessary to overcome resistance. So what was justified in 16 shots by one of those officers? And so I'm outraged, and this will do nothing to deter the bad behavior that we see happen again and again.
Exactly. That's a loud.
That's the loudest message. Question to ask Cheryl, but what do you anticipate the reaction to be on the streets of Louisville?
So done.
I hope that there's not rioting and destruction, because that will only play into the hands of this person in the White House who wants to bring more aggression to our communities. I hope that we are just days out from election. People will understand that AGs
so get ready for the tear gas
and have a symbiotic relationship.
Get ready for the tear gas.
Elected officials, and they will go and voice their discontent at the ballot box.
Cal, let me go back to you for a quick check on the situation on the ground.
Yeah, let's go to let's switch cameras. We don't even have time for commercials. The blacks haven't gotten their freedom, so this is like my CTV. Like where you're in Louisville. Okay, what street are you on? It's breaking news. Describe the scene. Hi ho, this is Kermit the Frog here, reporting live from Black people still not getting justice in 2020.
Taken by officials in Louisville and in Kentucky.
Yeah, so as you take a look at those pictures of folks marching around, let me explain to you that they're outside a perimeter. On either end of these streets, you've got...
They got this shit on lock. The tanks are already rolling. Yeah, they're not going to do anything to prevent police brutality, but they're going to do something to prevent the reaction to police brutality. Yeah, that's what this shit is. Some kind of protest. They only have 6 hours to do it. 6 hours and counting. The countdown has begun. You only got 6 hours to protest. What are you going to do?
of certain measures that would indicate to you the city is preparing. The first is that curfew that's going into place tonight.
The curfew that's gone in. Look at that.
National Guard being activated.
National Guard, curfew. It's all must-see TV. It's only September 23rd of 2020. What's going to go down? We only have 6 hours. 6 hours to curfew countdown.
And I think that's why it's going to be so hard for people.
This is like a fucking episode of Big Brother.
No police reforms through a criminal justice process. There were a number of very important police reforms.
Tanks are already rolling.
With Breonna Taylor's family. There has to be a supervisor now that signs a warrant. We heard from the Attorney General today. That
and thank you, Jamie, about how they try to make it seem like her boyfriend did something wrong. Trust me, I know all of this. And one of the cops last night, he done said some shit too. You know, I have to show it. It's on my phone, I think, somewhere.
I think that's partly why the city has done everything it has to prepare for any eventuality here tonight, Amy.
The city has already done what it can do to prevent anything. Breonna Taylor cops attacked thug protesters and email ran ahead of grand jury decision. So there he goes, piece of shit.
All of these protests as rioters and looters, and that in of itself defines a bit of the narrative. But you
there you go.
Mix. I want you to
don't care. That's one of the cops.
He
don't care.
On those streets protesting.
This is an incredibly complicated question, and I think it's a vitally important one.
Incredibly complicated.
Black Lives Matter.
Piece of shit. Thank you, Jamie.
In the square, handing out food to people who need food, to have everyday needs that have only been amplified during the pandemic. You have folks that are dressed in all black with helmets and flak jackets on, some of them with medic on the front. We'll look and see if we can find any of them maybe sort of back there on the benches. In addition to that, you have militias, sometimes white militias, sometimes black militias. We have seen a small white militia a few blocks from here. Again, they did not come into this perimeter.
So this is must-see TV, y'all. The blacks have yet to get their justice. How will they respond? What will happen in terms of the tear gas? What will happen in terms of frozen water bottles? What will happen in terms of the tanks and the rubber bullets? And how much milk? How many gallons of milk are we going to use to douse our eyes this time? How many umbrellas? What time will the curfew be? Countdown to curfew. Countdown, guys. It's countdown. Countdown in Louisville.
With these long rifles, it is worth mentioning at this point that Kentucky is what they call a right to carry state.
It's a right to carry state, so people can carry their guns. They are armed.
We also see people arriving, as I said, with helmets, flak jackets, and
helmets,
bats. That is
baseball bats.
Here. Certainly
but you have a right to carry.
The National Guard has been here on the streets before. We have seen clashes in the past.
This is such a shit show.
I think this is absolutely intentional by officials. You cannot see a member of the National Guard anywhere. In fact, you cannot see a member of the police department anywhere. And I think until there's some sign that things are turning, that things are going south, you won't. I think they want to sort of be stood back.
I don't trust that. That means they could be fucking undercovers, just blending in with everybody. What? Oh, that is organizing 101. To sit there and trust it because there's no cops there, you can do and say whatever you want. What?
Driven by these street protests.
These street protests.
To get your thoughts as to where that street level
here we go
goes next to kind of impact.
It's the peaceful protesters versus the angry protesters, and what will happen when curfew strikes tonight. 6 o'clock. 6 hours remaining. Excuse me. 9 o'clock curfew. The media are the main ones instigating this. Thank you. Can you explain why you say that? I mean, I think I understand, but just talk about it.
So many of the other sources.
I feel like this is like the Rose Bowl. You know what I'm saying? This is like the Thanksgiving Day parade. You know, oh, look at that float. Oh, look at that sign. Yeah, that's a really nice one. Yeah, that really sticks it to the man. Yeah, that one. Oh, no, that's another amazing one. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Yeah, about Breonna Taylor. Yeah, say her name. Yeah.
He would frame all of these efforts to draw attention to this problem as un-American, as anti-American, as things that
this is so
can't be seen anymore.
Bizarre.
So this moment, this protest is moving from the streets to the halls of Congress, to the federal government, to the academy. This really is a Cold War of ideas. And one of the ideas is whether Black Lives Matter.
Do Black Lives Matter?
Right,
do they matter?
Is an aspirational demand in which some are willing to say, no, they don't matter so much. And they're willing to take up arms to make it make that the case, and others who are willing to put their bodies on the line to make it clear that racial injustice is the issue of the moment. And this moment, right now, trust. People have been waiting for this for months, and the people that I'm most concerned about are those militias coming in. We really have to be very careful in this moment, watch very carefully to see what happens, and report accurately about where, if there is violence, it's going to come from.
I want to play for all of you a point that was raised by Daniel Cameron, the Kentucky Attorney General. Obviously, we see the street protests. We've been watching the street protests, but he took particular aim at celebrities and what he called influencers who had taken up the cause of Breonna Taylor. Listen to what he said during his press conference.
There will be celebrities, influencers, and activists who, having never lived in Kentucky, will try to tell us how to feel, suggesting they understand the facts of this case and that they know our community and the Commonwealth better than we do.
He basically said, shut up, influencers. Shut up, protesters. Shut up, everyone. Just stay away. Stay home. Black Lives Matter. Don't be adventurous with the pink persons in the black. Be strategic. Control your allies. Don't let them get. Yeah. Yes. I've already said that we should not even be in the streets. I've been saying this since day one. Black people should stay home, write books, be articulate, build their website. Because this is bizarre. This is what I keep saying. Black
was probably right up to the line of even what he should be saying in that role. Most important,
Black Egg, no solution in sight, but just keep it on YouTube, which is ironically me, and Facebook is making all this money right now off of our pain. No solution. So why should we be out there?
So I think viewers can draw their own conclusions about his consistency.
If you're out there, burn everything down. But if you're not out there to burn everything down, you're liable to get hurt yourself. It's just bizarre. It's all bizarre. It's all bizarre. It's Babylon.
And has been a very clear political ally of Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump in the context of these issues in this case and giving them
the issues.
I'll say that number one. Number two, I just want to add some context here. We do respect.
Please add some context.
As a citizen of the United States, which I am, and as a legal journalist, this is a legal process. Obviously, it must be respected. That's our democracy. No one is on this channel or in this conversation discussing advocating violence or anything else in response to a grand jury decision. Having said that, Eamon, viewers, I think, understand and we care about this.
This is so bizarre.
There is so much attention and discussion and pressure on this process, whether it is people like LeBron James talking about Breonna Taylor, or other activists or other people who have a platform, some of whom happen to be minorities, some of whom are. The reason is the widespread evidence of the failure of the justice system to work when police kill Black and brown people in America. That is why there is such an outcry. That doesn't mean, of course, that any individual case is put up to a public vote. We have a rule of law. We have a justice system. But I really want people to understand, and I think many do, the reason that there is this outpouring, the reason there's so much activism is precisely because
it's going on for 400 years.
There's often insufficient investigation, miscarriage of justice, no
miscarriage of
justice, or even consideration of charges, let alone charges whether they be warranted or not. So it is rich, I would say, for an individual who knows all that and is involved in this to sort of pretend they don't know why there's an outpouring. The outpouring is precisely because
land black, yes, building up organic answers by the colonized, because we keep getting caught up in this rat race, as you said, Jamie, so well, and it's messing up our heads, and we're vibrating on a lower level of panic and fear all the time. We need to be who we are. We are the master teachers. We need to be breathing. We need to be doing our yoga and we did all of that first. Black people invented all of that. We invented yoga. We invented martial arts. We need to be doing all of those things and vibrate higher than all of this bullshit. And because it doesn't matter how articulate you are. It doesn't matter where they did or did not. None of that matters.
In the case, what might those be? Where do you see that going next, if anywhere at all?
Solutions.
On that legal news, the Attorney General referred to their approach, which was on potential criminal violations, for example, a local wanton shooting charge or homicide charge. They handle that in Kentucky. For federal civil rights potential charges, they defer to the feds. And then he did mention the coordination they did. For example, he said that the FBI crime lab provided some of the evidence. So the only other charges one would see, and this would be overseen by Bill Barr's Justice Department, would be potential civil rights violations. All I would note on that, and we're not reporting anything firm or new on that. We had a state announcement today, not a federal one, but the federal requirements for those kind of charges tend to be even higher than the local. Cheryl, one of the
it's so bizarre
that stuck out to me from the Attorney General, he said, sometimes the criminal law is not adequate to respond to a tragedy. That is quite a remarkable statement, a striking statement.
I've seen this community building. If you're only reactionary, you'll never get systemic change. We must work with the indigenous people of Turtle Land. Okay, so what can you break that down, Jamie? What exactly does that mean? Also put a link to your whole organization, your whole Black Hammer. Can you do it? Might as well.
And so just like he thinks they can't speak for Kentucky because he's up there with a black face, he does not speak for all
That's
of
right.
us. This was
No, he doesn't.
Tragedy. This was a murder.
This was a tragedy.
Himself.
Kimberly, let me get your final thoughts on this. We just heard from the Democratic vice presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, on her reaction to this decision by the grand jury a short while ago. Watch.
Breonna Taylor and her family deserve justice yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I'll review it in the next tomorrow.
So just to be clear for our viewers who may not have heard her there, she said that Breonna Taylor's family deserves justice yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Your thoughts, your final thoughts on that, Kimberly?
Well, of course, she is going to have to read the decision carefully and be careful in her response to it. But I think it's obvious that, as we just heard, this is a political issue. I am not at all surprised that it came out this way. I'm not at all surprised that the Attorney General in Kentucky struck out against national and international pressure. I'm not at all surprised that the language very subtly of states' rights is folded into this. Don't let other people come and tell us what to do. Well, that is what civil rights and racial justice has always been about. The eyes of the country, the eyes of the world.
This is just bizarre. This is like must-see. This is like a bizarre Twilight Zone of must-see TV with Black people's rights.
This kind of pressure is what we're going to
I've
need.
seen,
but
yeah.
The most important thing to recognize, he is an elected official. This is about politics. This is a moment where if we are outraged about what we're seeing, we first have to remove those people who are making this decision.
And all you hear is horns honking. It's so bizarre. Yes, I love to drop the information. It's the unity of indigenous people, stolen people from Contunu. Is that the land that you're called, or is it like a typing error? I'm not sure. And every other colonized person working together, understanding that all of our passions come from colonialism. Yeah. Well, all of our issues come from colonialism. Yes. Continue to like Black Issues Issues. It sends it out to the universe and gets more people to watch and have these BLURGENT conversations about issues and solutions. Thank you all for watching and subscribing to Black Issues Issues. There's a subscribe button there. Subscribe to Black Issues Issues and share it out to the world. I'm going to stay on for another like maybe 5-10 minutes, and then y'all know I do diversity training and I have to finish doing that. Thank you.
The results today, I haven't read all the
bizarre
evidence, but I think Kamala Harris said it well. This is
peppermint oil. I just put some peppermint oil on. It just feels good.
And tomorrow, we hope that there'll be other opportunities for proceedings to
for
hold,
something for
law
proceedings,
maybe
proceedings,
maybe
procedures, proceedings.
But I read that long piece a couple of weeks ago in the New York Times about her life and how she was on track and
to be a nurse and it'd be amazing.
And just the
blagedy of it all.
In that account.
Woo! I'm just activating my goddess right now. It smells so good. This is natural perfume. Most of the perfume that you use is toxic. I'm talking over him because he's not saying anything that we don't already know. They're just overstating the obvious. So this is a natural brand called Pacifica, and it smells really good. It's like sugared amber. So I just have to.
Are you at all concerned about unrest and whether or not this is an inflection.
Activate my third eye and breathe and ground myself, because I know it's a lot, but I have to see myself outside of this bullshit.
Want them to be peaceful, vigorous, and loud.
She was on a magazine cover. They got $12 million. What more do you want? That's basically what's happening.
With the murder of George Floyd, a movement which has changed public opinion in the country. In fact, policy is way behind public opinion on this. And the protests we saw around the country, more than 90% was peaceful.
Check out Black Hammer recently talked about democratic centralism. You have to have an answer when you talk about defunding the police. Yep, that's what I've been talking about. So maybe, Jamie, you can feature me. Yeah, I know we need to still feature each other, remember? So you can feature me because I've been talking about that for months. I never said, look, these are all the things I ever talked about. I never said defund the police. Never had it on here. Never did. Because I was like, no, that's a trap. And because white people control the narrative.
Which limits outdoor gatherings to 250 people. Our correspondent estimated nearly 4,000 people.
4,000 people.
Zero social distancing.
No social distancing.
Little mask usage. Are you urging leaders in Pittsburgh to prepare for a surge following that event?
Oh, that was a Trump rally? Well, there goes that.
Experts across the country that when you have that kind of a gathering, you're putting people at risk. Look, President Trump on so many levels.
Wow. I mean, this is just totally bizarre. It just gets worse and worse. So what I've always talked about, as you can see, I never had defund the police because I was like, no. Because white people control the narrative. The narrative will be, look, you see, we need police officers because look how crime is increasing. You defunded the police. You need to refund the police. So that's why I never said it. I was like, because there was no answer beyond defund the police, or the answer was vague and didn't really address 400 years of racial inequality and like, okay, overarching, like very like blurgent, black and urgent response. You know what I'm saying, to the hood, to get the guns off the street. Like if you're only going to say defund the police, but you didn't have an answer for how to get the guns off the street, it's going to fall apart, which is exactly what happened. You never had a plan for after this trend of defund the police. It was always defund. Yeah, but what about the aftermath of defunding? What was that? There wasn't really an answer for that. And so that's why what I've been thinking about, police reform, stop policing the protesters, start policing the police. That's the two things that I talked about this whole time. Never defund, never had it, never had it. Because I knew, I had fuck your comfort, but I knew that saying defund the police wasn't going to work. So what I have been talking about is anti-racist budget. That all of our systems by default are racist, which means our taxation is being paid without representation because of systemic racism. So you would need to actually reallocate money from a racial lens in all vestiges of our system in our society, not just the police. That would have been a much more comprehensive way of handling these issues. And then also, so you do that. Number one, we're going to take the pension collectively. If all police, I've said this before, if the pension would tank by 2%, 8%, 15%, whatever number you want to say, every time there's a wrongful death, police would stop it. Because it just goes into this vague thing of like taxpayer dollars that are funding police brutality settlements. It doesn't affect the actual police officer's salary. Okay. Well, then you're going to have what you're going to keep having. But to have a racial reckoning look like a referendum on the budget, okay, well then you would see a lot of this foolishness stop. You would see a lot. They're quick to sit there and give a $12 million settlement because it's vague. But if you told the cop, you know what? We pay out $10 million a year in police misconduct, right? But if we didn't have to pay out this $10 million, your salary would actually be $10,000 higher each. But that conversation is never actually had. So it's just vague. It's like, okay, you're a police officer. This is a shitty salary that you get. And so they think in their mind, well, that's a shitty salary I get, and that's what I'm going to get, and I get to feel like I'm a hero, and that's it. But if you told them, you know what? If all of you collectively would figure your shit out and stop brutalizing and all the misconduct, all of your salaries would be $10,000 higher. That's a different conversation. But they don't have these conversations. So what you have is this defund. And then crime goes up. and then 2 seconds later, you know, you're protesting in the streets because somebody's rights were violated and their life is lost, but you never really get to the heart of the issue. And so that is what Black Issues is about. I'm always talking about issues and solutions. So one is the Blackulator, thinking about calculating our oppression. What is the solution to all the oppression? On a monetary basis, on an emotional basis, that really is the conversation that needs to be had with the issues.
This is a bad statement, not only for that community, but nationally.
Do you believe, sir, the makeup of
Ghazi, the other, yeah, let's go. You let me know when you want to have me on. I'm actually having I haven't even done anything. I have 2 huge rallies that I'm doing this weekend. Saturday, I'm booked for a Breonna Taylor rally, and Sunday as well. I'm also doing a rally.
Ultimately turned around and said, for the safety of the grand jury, I don't want to disclose that information, or I shouldn't be disclosing that information.
But juries are one's peers, the jury's one's peers.
So, you know, it's just a lot. Actually, and the person who booked me, God, I swear, Clarissa.
Is questionable within itself. We need a system that allows for more transparency, particularly in areas where we've stumbled in this nation. But moreover, what would happen if these officers decide to leave this force and go to another police agency? Their record won't follow them.
Their record won't follow them, yes. So we have all of these issues. I don't know if you all can hear.
We have to overhaul the system of policing.
And how many times are we going to say we have to overhaul the system?
We're going to continue to see what we've seen in Minneapolis and what we begin to see here in Louisville. People are taken to the street. And when you look at the crowd, I see black, white, young, old, because anytime there's injustice, there has to be a reaction so that we can't get justice.
I'm like also managing my email list right now. I'm just doing like 10 different things at the same time for email blasts.
Joining me now on the phone is Rukmini Kalamaki, correspondent for the New York Times, who's done extensive research and reporting on the case. You may have also heard her question there to the Attorney General during that press conference. You were there, Rukmini, at that news conference, as I mentioned last hour. You asked him about the police knocking on the door before ramming in and the shots starting to fire. Listen to this.
Your question was, is it enough for me? And I think the more pertinent question is, what was the evidence provided to the grand jury? What was sufficient for their purposes? They got to hear and listen to all the testimony and made a determination that Detective Hankinson was the one that needed to be indicted, knowing all of the relative points that you made.
Okay, so to be clear for our viewers, what he was talking about there, Rukmini, it was your reporting in which I believe you spoke to several residents in that apartment complex. The Attorney General saying only one witness corroborated the statement of the police, one witness corroborating that statement that he heard the police identify themselves. What did your reporting find?
We went and took apart the apartment complex to understand if what the police said was true. The police claimed that they knocked multiple times and, crucially, that they announced themselves as police, because what Breonna Taylor's boyfriend says...
This is such a joke. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, that's you, Jamie.
But because they didn't hear them screaming, police, 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 they thought it was an intruder, and therefore he shot at the police when they entered the doorway. We spoke to roughly a dozen of the neighbors.
He should shoot.
A truck driver who was coming off of a late shift and who was standing directly above her apartment on a staircase heard them scream police.
Sure, Jamie. You just let me know. I'm always here.
Did not make clear how many witnesses they spoke to.
And thank you so much for watching and tuning in. As usual, Black Issues
But he said that it was sufficient to determine that they had knocked and announced according to their own protocol. I certainly still have questions about that.
What are some of the questions that you still have outstanding following that news conference? Not just about the issue of the no-knock arrest warrant, but what is making you question, or what questions do you have either for the Attorney General or for the facts as they were presented?
Look, I think what is difficult about this case is that there are two parts to it. One was the investigation that led the police to her door in the first place, and which according to many accounts, was flawed. But the police officers who shot into her apartment that night were not involved in the investigation. So he made the point that you can't hold them accountable for what others did before they got there.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to send as my email blast title. Breonna Taylor's life matters. I don't know anymore. Like, I don't even know.
Inside that apartment, or within their right to have thought this was a robber, this was a burglar. These are people who are beating down our door at nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, justifying the fact that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend shot back. So the Attorney General has fallen, he appears to be saying they did knock and announce, and that once they went in, they were shot at first, which is not in dispute. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend has said that he did open fire, again, because he thought it was an intruder. And then everything follows from there. The Attorney General is saying that the 2 officers in the doorway who returned fire were justified in doing so because they were fired upon first. The 3rd officer went into the parking lot and blindly shot willy-nilly into her sliding glass door, into the bedroom window, shots that went clear across her house into the house behind it. And that's why that person has been charged with wanton endangerment. The reason he's not being charged with murder is because apparently none of his bullets hit her. It was in the doorway who hit her.
The Kentucky AG is on some, y'all are not better than me. Oh yeah, he is. He's power tripping, honey. He is just like, listen, I got on my suit, okay? I'm sitting in front of these American flags and this Kentucky Louisville logo. Yeah, he is paid.
Am I incorrect to assume
paid with a capital B. Thank you, Leah. It is insane.
Shot in her bed?
It is insane.
Yes, that was a narrative that took hold early on, and that like several other narratives about this case is incorrect.
What
we know from
let me hear. What are the facts? What are the facts of the facts?
Is that they are in bed together. She has fallen asleep. He has not. They had time when they heard the banging on the door, which went on for some time. They had time to both get out of bed, get partially dressed, and begin walking down the hallway. And this is both according to the police and according to Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, so I think it seems reliable since both sides are saying it. And the door comes off when Breonna and her boyfriend are standing side by side in the hallway, having just stepped into the hallway from the bedroom, about 25 to maybe 30 feet from the door. And that's the moment when Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, thinking they were being broken into, let off a shot, shot the officer, and the officers responded with overwhelming fire.
Rukmini, you interviewed dozens of people. You poured over some 1,500 pages of police records to learn more about her life and her death. What did you find out about that night? Did police fail in their own rules of engagement between how they responded, how they executed that warrant, the evidence that led to it, and more importantly, why were they not prepared for potential medical situation that would require, medical attention, immediate medical attention?
Sure. So the failures that we identified, having been able to pour over these internal documents, are the following. Number one, the police that were going there that night were briefed a couple of hours before, and they were given erroneous information. They were told, according to
erroneous information. I don't believe unknown person enters your property without being notified, results in protecting yourself.
And that I think explains.
Like, they're just parsing through. All it is we need to do anything that puts Black people at a disadvantage and white people in law enforcement and all the vestiges of whiteness at an advantage. That's basically what it is. Whatever the machinations are, it don't matter. That's why when Obama wanted to appoint a Supreme Court judge, they were like, no. And now that Trump wants to appoint a Supreme Court judge, they're like, yes. Because it's not about the law. It's about white is right. Where's my white right? Where is my white right when you need one?
That, by all accounts, did not occur.
Where's my white right? Hold on. 3, 2.
Heard them announce. And then the third failure is what led to the charges today that Hankinson, which was this bizarre.
There you go, white right. That's really what it is. It doesn't really matter. None of this matters.
At the door where the other officers were. And for reasons that remain unclear, he ran into the parking lot and began blindly firing into her sliding glass door, into her window. And it's really a miracle because it's today that we learned that none of his bullets actually hit her or hit the family who was living in the apartment behind. But it's really a miracle that he did not kill additional people with the 10 rounds that he shot in this.
She's still talking. It's just so much an explanation when really none of this is necessary. We don't care.
The young woman's death was paradoxically set in motion by an attempt at police reform. Explain to our viewers more about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the dark ironies, I think, of this case, which is that the investigation of Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend, a man called Jamarcus Glover, was set in motion by something called the Place-Based Investigation Unit.
Place-Based Investigation Unit. What is that?
Months before her death. It was modeled on a similar squad in Cincinnati and Las Vegas that has had great success in those cities in cracking down on crime. And the idea is that instead of blanketing a large area and doing traffic stops or doing things that, that basically met both innocent people and potential felons, you go in a hyper-focused way, you look at a micro-location. So they set this up, and the micro-location that they chose was the 2400 block of a place called Elliott Avenue. It was on that street. I've been there. It's a blighted part of the city. It's on that street that Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend and some of his associates were operating a series of so-called trap houses. These are places where drugs were sold. The intelligence that they gathered.
Basically, she's in the hood. They don't care about people in the hood, so that's why they can do what they do.
Evidence log. They did recover a significant amount of drugs, fentanyl pills, crack cocaine. They were in sachets that were ready for sale. They found scales.
Why the White House wife not getting killed by police officers, and if so, it's not talked about.
The question is whether the investigators were
interesting, Jamie. Explain to unpack that comment, Jamie. Just let me know where you're going with that one.
A years-long on and off relationship with this man, but she had broken up with him before the raid. So was it correct to also include her apartment in that operation?
Rukmini Kalamaki from the New York Times, thank you for the incredible reporting you have been doing on this story. We certainly hope to keep in touch with you as you continue investigating it. Thank you. Let's cross back over to Louisville, Kentucky. Cal Perry's been with us throughout the hour as developments there continue to unfold. Cal, what are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Yeah, so that march is sort of continuing. The numbers are getting small. I'll get out of the way and let you kind of take a look at what's happening in the park. I do want to just make it clear that almost everybody in this park is a journalist in some way, shape, or form. The international media has descended on this area of Louisville because this is traditionally where we see the protests started. Unclear right now whether or not we will see massive protests. There is nothing to indicate that we will not. Certainly people are very upset. You heard that very thorough reporting. Obviously, that conversation that you were just having, raising a number of questions, and there's some big ones, some big questions that people still here have on the ground, like
big
why
questions.
are the police officers not wearing body cameras?
Whites are going to keep the dirt under the rug. Of course.
Is there a need?
So much hate in the police department.
Yes.
Yes.
More often than not, you have that no-knock warrant because you're afraid that the person inside is going to get rid of some kind of evidence. Not clear that that was necessarily on the table. That's what the FBI is going to be looking at. As you have said in the past,
my head hurts listening to all of this.
There's a curfew now that will be in place in Louisville from 9 p.m.
Countdown.
to 6:30 in the morning.
Countdown for the curfew.
State of emergency, which allows the mayor to be a little bit more free in how he uses the police force, and the National Guard has been called up. So while it's quiet now, we certainly hope it will remain quiet.
The National Guard is quiet right now. Shut up, shut up, shut up.
Because I know that over the past several months you have been going back to Louisville to continue your reporting there. Talk to us a little bit about the relationship between law enforcement, between the police and the activists and the protesters who have been carrying these marches on for the past several months, demanding justice for Breonna Taylor. Is it safe to say there is a breakdown of trust between law enforcement and some of the residents and protesters there in the city of Louisville?
Break of trust.
Absolutely. I think that's more than fair to say, and I would point you to the settlement from Breonna Taylor's family that she made with the city, Breonna Taylor's family and the city, because in that settlement, not only is there the $12 million, but there are some substantial police reforms. One, there has to be a supervisor present when letting out a warrant like the one that we saw. Two, body cameras have to be worn at all time. And then it may seem like a small issue, but it speaks to exactly what you're talking about. One of the things in the settlement was that anytime there is money seized, that police have to have body cameras on, that there have to be supervisors present, and it laid out exactly how
they didn't get rid of Uncle Ben. The Kentucky AG is the new Uncle Ben. You are hilarious, Bert. Love you, Blurt. Bert.
Here in eastern sort of central.
Hilarious.
Tear gas being used, but one of the chants that we've heard time and time.
So it's a countdown, right? It's a countdown to curfew, y'all. What's gonna happen? Black people, do they get their justice? Do they get what they need? Do they get it? Do they get it? Yes or no?
Under siege from
right?
a police force that is not behaving.
It's must see TV.
Not communicating with members of the community ahead of time. We saw this in the months that followed Breonna's death, when the protest broke out and we had more violence. We had a man, David Maxey, a member of the community, shot by a member of the National Guard and Louisville Police.
That is true.
But again, police didn't have those body cameras on, so there was this level of distrust about what.
Yeah, I think he owned like a barbecue joint or something. The man that they killed or shot or whatever. Yeah.
How deep that mistrust goes.
There you go. All the issues. These are actually nice mugs. I have them for sale. They're so cute, aren't they? Support a black business, support a black woman, support a black creative, Black Issues mugs.
Michael Steele, a senior advisor for the Lincoln Project. Great to have both of you with us. Crystal, let me begin with you. The Attorney General saying that he understands that this case is a part of a national narrative on race and injustice.
National narrative on race.
The evidence available was clearly not sufficient for the grand jury to indict anyone for murder or manslaughter.
There you go.
Reaction to those comments by the Attorney General.
You know, his words ring hollow, and the outcome today is incredibly disappointing. It fully disregards the life, the dignity, the humanity of Breonna Taylor, a Black woman who should be alive today. And, you know, there are those who say, why are people protesting? Why does the Black Lives Matter movement exist? And
why does the Black Lives Matter movement exist?
Like this, when the system fails us.
Yeah, so we want to critique the movement or the tactics instead of the system, right? As if one does not cause the other. Black people have other things to do than to be marching all the goddamn time, okay? Like, we have other things to do.
Warrant that led to the death of
like me, I haven't even eaten today.
Vehicle. About 10 people lose their lives every year through the police usage of no-knock warrants, and it traumatizes countless others. And you know, for two officers to face no charges whatsoever, and for an innocent woman, an innocent Black woman, to be gone, you know, it's an incredibly disappointing day and a reminder of the.
It's an incredibly disappointing day. Yes.
The ways in which racism infects every aspect of.
Actually, I don't even think it's disappointing. Like, I already knew that this was going to happen, so. I don't know. What do you do for the cynics? What do you do for the cynicals? Go, Bert. Go, Bert. Go, go. I know you got a comment, Bert. What do we do for the cynicals? For you know, that are like, yeah, and like I do this shit. Like, you know, like I'm not a sucker. I didn't have my hopes up, you know.
You've got to be aware of. So
I'm always talking about narratives.
People not just on the street there, but around the country, is that in this age we know, as the saying goes, you know, prosecutors can indict a ham sandwich. So in the face of what we know and what we've seen and the evidence that has been presented publicly, not having been on the grand jury, not having heard the arguments made, it does belie the fact that more should have come out of this than you know, an indictment for a bullet going into the other apartment and nothing touching on Breonna's situation.
Yeah, they don't care.
Apartment. So you have that as the backdrop, and the political narrative is that this feeds right into exactly what Donald Trump is going to be putting out on Law and Order. Any protestations that results in violence and scenes that we see right now just scares white folks.
Yeah, let me describe for our viewers, Michael, while I have you really quickly, what we're seeing there are live pictures.
But he's talking, he used to be
53 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, breaking news.
The police there, the police
we have a first arrest. We have a first arrest. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Must see TV. Must see TV. Get your popcorn. Get your popcorn. Get your caffeine. The blacks are out to protest or to something. They want. There's something. Yeah, they're out there.
Press conference, as we've been hearing from our reporter Cal Perry, down in that area where the LMPD is.
This is a lot. It's a lot.
It was relatively peaceful.
It was peaceful until it wasn't peaceful, but
they've moved concrete.
So then that becomes a report. Are they peaceful? Are they not peaceful? Instead of what the cops are doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
Police firing into the direction of some of those.
Right. That's basically what the focus is. Right.
We're going to keep an eye on that situation, but
keep an eye on it.
Let me come back to you for a moment. Does today's decision have a wider impact on
the focus then becomes on, are they peaceful, are they not peaceful, instead of the constant monitoring of the actual police. Are the police peaceful? That needs to be the question. Are the police peaceful?
We know that this Justice Department has virtually abandoned the important work of confronting systemic policing reform. We saw that at the outset of the Trump presidency. We know that an important bill that would help to address some of these issues, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, is sitting and collecting dust on the desk of Senator Mitch McConnell, who should be giving that his highest priority and attention. And then we also know that we've got a president who believes that the mere study and examination
of racism,
of anti-racism, is, in his view, toxic. So looming over the situation in Kentucky is a horrendous situation that's playing out at the federal level. And again, this is just a disappointing day for Breonna Taylor's family, her community, for the entire country that has embraced the Black Lives Movement matter in the wake of the deaths of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Ahmaud Arbery. And so we will keep protesting and keep pressing our demand for justice.
Our demand for justice.
Clark, Michael Steele, thank you so much for joining us this hour.
Thank you so much for joining us this hour.
With Martin Luther King III.
Oh, Martin Luther King III. Okay, we have our usual suspects. This is what happens when the Blacks, you know, we have our usual suspects, our usual speakers that we tap to listen and articulate the issue. Oh, we look to see if the peaceful protesters are being peaceful. You know, this happens every time. This happens every time.
Reinforces the fact that the system of justice, has to be make some serious corrections.
You know, we're just watching it. You know, I have on my fleece today. You know, I just need to be comfortable when all this shit is going down. You know,
this is a great tragedy.
My lip gloss faded. It is what it is. I'm black in America. My lip gloss is going to fade.
We've heard about investigations. We do not know what was presented today, but we do know that this is beyond tragic. And it goes to show.
Good question,
and why it's so
Jamie.
important to engage in elections.
Good question. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
The importance of the election, because
it seemed like there was going to be more, but I always thought no, because I always think it's way worse than we think. Because white people control the narrative. Until white people are not controlling the narrative, we're not going to get the racial reckoning. That's it. And I need to write that down.
But it's a sad day. I mean, how many mothers?
It's not a sad day. It is what it is.
With their children tonight at dinner time.
Until white people no longer control the narrative, we're not going to get the racial reckoning.
To black women, I know my wife and I are going to have to talk to our daughter because she's going to be raising questions about this.
White people, I'm reading your comment and Bert's comment. Amy McGraw, the so-called Democratic Trump candidate from Kentucky who is running against McConnell, is she going to say anything?
You are going to say
Bert,
to your daughter on
knockout racism. Love it, Bert. Excellent question. Excellent question.
For the family of this black woman.
I have to do some more research on her. Thank you so much for that, Bert.
Well, the first thing,
so you can see his head.
We've been understanding. I mean, we're going to have.
I'm reading your comment, Jamie.
Her views in terms of how this system can work. She already said in a speech we had a march, of course, on August 28th. So that hopefully the George Floyd.
I agree, Jamie. I've said this the whole time, that move away from only a narrative about the cops, because that is not, my black life is more than police brutality. My black life is 400 years, and that's why I always say, I know he's just talking.
But my daughter said that her generation is going to be the generation to address
what
those
is
issues when she spoke that day.
our agenda.
And I hope we don't have to wait for her generation. I think something needs to be done now.
Mr. King, Attorney General,
racism isn't just emotional, it is economic. So it's more than just the killing. It is also an economic justice. Like, it needs to be broad, you know?
What message do you have? Do you think your father would have had?
Oh, Jesus. What would MLK say?
I think my father oftentimes, he said lives are the language of the unheard.
Yes, they are. I was going to say that.
When conditions are fair and just and right, you don't have to worry about people doing
in the streets.
Things like rioting.
Right.
But when conditions are unfair and unjust, that prospect is real. But I think my father always understood the prospect of nonviolence and encouraged it. I must remind viewers, though, this same prosecutor, this same attorney general also spoke at the Republican National Convention. So he was not biased there.
Hey, Alux and Tenbris, what do you think about the disproportionate amount of crime committed by minorities? Well, I would say the same thing, right?
All right.
So,
Luther King the Third, sir,
fuck
thank you so
Trump.
much
Well,
for
thank you
joining
for
us. I
that,
appreciate your time
Ethan.
and insight.
And
We
what
will
do
continue
you
to
what do you
watch
even
the tense
define as
situation
crime,
there,
right?
on the
So
streets of
the
Louisville.
cops
We
are doing a
just got
disproportionate
90
amount of crime as
minutes,
well, and they're
since
not
the
being held
grand
accountable.
jury,
So when you
decision
think about the
not been
so-called
by any of the
disproportionate
officers
amount of crime
involved
in
the
minority communities, what does that even
of
mean,
Breonna Taylor. One
right?
officer was charged
What about the
with the
disproportionate
one-time,
amount of crime
shooting.
that
So, that wraps up this
that
hour for me. I'm going to
was
see you.
the founding of this country? You want to talk about theft? White people are the ones who did land theft, right? To steal the land from the Native Americans to start this country to begin with. So when you think about the word crime, right? What does that even mean? What about Wall Street and all the crime that they do? And they don't serve any jail time. Wells Fargo sit there and actually signed up people to have bank accounts that didn't even want bank accounts, and then charge them in activity fees, even though they didn't know they didn't have a bank account. How can you sit there and have activity in a bank account you didn't even know was a bank account? So, again, if you're a racist troll, I'm here for it. I'm actually here for it, right? What is the definition of crime that you're even talking about? You're talking about acute violent crime in the streets? Yeah, I have an issue with that too, right? But you white men, if you're white men are sitting here shooting up indiscriminately, like schools, post offices. Like, what is the conversation about that? Why is the conversation always about black, something wrong with us, as if we're the only ones with the issues? And it's you white people that have the issues. White people have issues. Number one, you white people have issues in terms of power, right? You will sacrifice any and everything, including the truth, for power. Look at Trump. So when you want to sit here and you want to talk about issues and you want to sit there and hyper pathologize black people into infinity, right? Let's have a real conversation about how white people show up in this world. If you want to sit there and pin the tail on the donkey and say it's us blacks that are just running around shooting each other, I'm not going to not say that's not an issue. I have an issue with that too. I think black people need to hold themselves to a higher standard, and a standard that is higher than whiteness. Because again, I always say white people control the narrative, and white people should not be the standard by which everybody then holds themselves to. Because the standard of whiteness is greed. The standard of whiteness is exploitation. The standard of whiteness is lying. The standard of whiteness is violence, domestically and abroad. So, no, monkey gibberish. Well, that's the only thing that you're going to be able to say, because I'm actually a person, never mind a black person, but I'm a person that actually is talking sense. And I actually did agree with you. So if you're going to discount what I said, you're also discounting the valid answer that I had for you when you asked me the question about violence in black communities, or so-called minority communities, as you termed it, right? But if we're going to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. I'm not here to insult. What I said about white people is actually the truth, which is the same thing. Every time a racist troll wants to come up on me, like, you all prove my point, which is you all thrive on chaos. You all have millions and billions of dollars a year. Y'all 90% of the Hollywood, right? White men, right? So millions and billions of dollars, right? And what kind of movies do you all make? Shoot 'em up movies, explosion movies, so-called blockbusters. That proves my point. Y'all live for chaos. Y'all live for destruction of land, destruction of civilizations, destruction of order, destruction of everything. That's white. That is the legacy of whiteness. And if you don't believe me, look at the amount of money that you all have and in what you produce. The movies y'all produce are all about destruction, period. When you look at rock and roll, right, and heavy metal, look at heavy metal. Heavy metal is white men. What do they do on stage? Rah, rah, and destroy shit. They sit there and break the guitar. And they walk across the stage, and by the end of the show, they break everything. Even the way they drum, it's like destruction. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. If you want to troll, I'm here for it. Don't call me monkey though. Don't call me monkey, but like, have an actual repartee. Have an actual back for my forth. Okay? So because like if you want to be Serena Williams, I'm gonna be Venus Williams, right? And let's go back and forth. Okay? But don't just sit here and dismiss me as a monkey. And do me a favor, Lux. Start to share it out. Share it out to all your other racist friends so they control me too. Have a blast. Have a blast trolling me right now, because I am literally here for it until I am here for Yolanda, because Yolanda's broadcast is today at what, 6 o'clock? I think your broadcast starts today, Yolanda. Put a link there and let everybody know, because Yolanda is amazing. And so I have it on my calendar to watch you tonight as well. But I'm also here to have this conversation, because again, when you look at the amount of you white people control, right? White is right? Well, let me find white right? White right. White people want to control everything, right? So you control America, and this is what you have to show for it. You killed off the Native Americans, you stole the land, you enslaved the Africans, and this is what you have to show for it. The shitty, literally, where's my poop emoji? This shitty excuse for civilization, this is what you have to show for it. One where you can't even figure out how to control a pandemic, and so-called third world countries have a better response rate to COVID-19 than so-called America does, right? Because again, you have to separate the myth of America from the actuality of America. And so for too long, America has had, this is why I have it up here, amazing branding. The branding of America is not the America that we actually live and breathe, right? Why do people subscribe to a brand? Because they feel like that brand that makes them feel a certain way, right? Nike, you believe that those sneakers are going to make you perform better, right? Milk does a body good, right? So we respond to brands. The brand of America is liberty, peace, justice, but that don't actually exist. Equality, it doesn't actually exist. It's the brand of America. It's not the actuality of America. And so a lot of you white people are in this like cognitive dissonance in your little cul-de-sacs of non-reality. And then every time somebody tells you the truth and pokes holes in the only thing that keeps you alive, then you want to sit there and insult, you want to kill the messenger. When the fact is that whiteness is killing you too, because then you're too blind to the injustice that also is killing you too. You too don't have proper health care. You too don't have all your teeth. You too don't have all your sense. And Trump is making all this money. You don't have the money that Trump's making, but again, because you want to live. The reason why Trump is in office is because Trump speaks to the American ethos like no other president has before in the past. He's just like, yo, this is what it is. You know, every other president is all about process and like making things nice and neat and being articulate or whatever. And that's not even every other president, because Woodrow Wilson screened Birth of a Nation, which is an extremely racist movie, in his White House. Okay, so it's not even like, oh, Trump is so horrible. Like, look at Andrew Jackson killing off the Native Americans, right? But anyway, back to Trump. Why is Trump so popular? Because he speaks not to the electorate, he speaks to the heart and mind of insecure, inadequate, ignorant white people. That's why he's in office, because he makes y'all feel like, yes, everything's going to be okay. Yes, you're just fine. No, you're not. Your asses are flat. You're wrinkled too quick and you're miserable. And that is why you have nothing else to do but to invest in this system and in this structural racism so that you can continue to be as inadequate and as mediocre as possible. And everybody else continues to be miserable. That's what it is. That's why Trump is in office, so that y'all can sit here and live your lie of inadequacy and mediocrity and feel okay with it and never have to deal with your demons. That's why Trump is in office, and that's why my ass should be viral right now. Viral. Now, let me get to your comments. Thank you all for watching and tuning into Black Issues. Black Issues. Literally trying to make sense of an insane world, one issue at a time. I'm your host of Black Issues, Kanani Aya Holder, anti-racist personal trainer to knock out racism. So come with it. Why y'all even putting what is hashtag 14? I literally have no idea. Is that some QAnon thing? Is that some way for y'all to get a suppository to flush the shit that's up your ass crack right now? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but bring on all the racists. Make me go viral. Come, bring the racists. Let me have a conversation, because I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I don't even need to be articulate about it. I'll just be raw, ratchet. I'll curse. I don't even care, because I think Black people, we get into this cul-de-sac too of thinking that we can just be really, really articulate and very flowery, and then we're going to eloquent our way out of racism. That shit don't work either. None of that works. What works is rioting, looting. That works, because then you hit an economic nerve in this country. That's it. Look at all of this. Look at it. Why is that there? Why is that there? That is there to protect property. That's why that is there. That's why that's there, to protect property. So fuck freedom of speech. No, it's about property. You condone riots that have harmed, whatever. Listen, honey, listen. What the racists like to do, and I will get to all your comments, is y'all like to conflagrate. Y'all like to sit there and make something else listen, no. The issue is, right? Oh, well, the protesters, I do this all the time. Oh, it's the protesters that need to be peaceful. Okay, how many times? Pay me $1 million right now. There's GoFundMe. Go donate to my GoFundMe. Go donate. Okay, do it, pussy. Okay, great. See, proving my point. Because you cannot win an intellectual argument. The only thing that you can do is then hurl insults at me because, again, you are inadequate. Why are you inadequate? Because you have been told from the time that you were an embryo that white is right. So you never had the full education that you should have had. You never had to have been challenged. You never get to be fully the human that you could be because you languish in white right. I'm here for it, honey. I am H-E-R-E, here. I know the difference between H-E-R-E and I want you to H-E-A-R me. I want you to hear me because I am here for it. Hello, ready for it. Again, all the time it's peaceful protester. How many times do you ever hear peaceful police? You never hear peaceful police, but you're constantly told that the protesters need to be peaceful, right? Because again, you keep obfuscating, right? You keep the attention, right, on something else other than the actual issue at hand. Well, the protesters are the problem. Okay. Well, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend is the problem. Well, the rioters are the problem. Everything else but the reason for why there's people in the streets to begin with. I have this here too. Stop policing the protesters. Start policing the police. Watch, you'll see it. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Stop policing the protesters. Start policing the police. So thank you. I will read all of your comments now. Now, mind you, this could also be a troll sitting here trying to get me off my pedestal, but it is what it is. Because I was well up on my high horse. But let's start to have the conversation because I'm here for it with the trolls. What do you think of police who respond to 911? Are they the problem? No, never said that. Okay, you're putting me in the box. You have no idea who I am. I've never said to defund the police. Never did. So you're assuming that everybody black is for defund the police and all this other stuff. Monkey. Yeah, keep it up. Keep it up because I'm going to do screenshots of all of these comments calling me a monkey and go viral. So continue to call me a monkey. It proves the point that you have nothing in you. Your souls are hollow and empty. And you're envious. You're envious of black people because we are actually superhuman on this planet. And y'all spend billions of dollars trying to tan yourself and another billions of dollars to sit there and fill up your lips like ours. And then another billions of dollars to get Botox and another billions of dollars to sit there and do yoga and everything else that you need to do to get a nice round ass that we are born with. So the only thing you can do is call me monkey. That's the only thing you can do. It's the only thing you can do. But you can't come toe to toe with the T-R-U-T-H, the truth. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Ethan. I'm not sure anymore because, there's so many trolls. But yeah, I will go to all of the comments now. I've dismounted my high horse. And you all can support Black Issues. I have mugs. I have T-shirts where you can continue to talk. There's a Blackulator calculating oppression since 1619. What if there was a calculator for reparations? Bam. So I'm getting to all your comments. Continue to like this video. Continue to like this video. Continue to like this video. Like the video. Cuba is whipping COVID-19's ass. Exactly. Thank you. The Moors only gave them, meaning white people, a percentage of the information that was necessary to actually live among the rich in color. Thank you. Right? Timbuktu was the first university. Okay, so Greek and Rome would not be Greek and Rome without going to Egypt and going to Timbuktu. Period. We were the first. We knew that the earth revolved around the sun thousands of years before Galileo and Copernicus. Come on now. Right? The Enlightenment was the European Enlightenment. Y'all figured things out. Y'all had the light on your heads. The Egyptian civilization predated y'all preceded that by thousands of years. Pythagoras didn't know what right angle. Egypt knew right angles thousands of years before because you can't build a pyramid without the knowledge of right angles and domes. Oh, I'm here for it because I actually studied Greek and Roman ancient civilizations at Howard University. So I'm here for it. I studied that shit too. I studied Latin, etymology of words, all of that I studied. I studied your Europeans. That's why I can sit there and say what I say and be calm and not break a sweat doing it. Thank you. All right, let me continue. Cuba's whipping Koba's ass. We hate white people. No, I don't hate you. I feel very sorry for you. I'm unimpressed and I feel very sorry. Because the saddest thing about white people is their inability to adapt. And you're gonna die. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't see it. That like the sun is killing you all. That like after a while, like you all are so busy not being able to cohabitate with the earth or other people that you are actually the biggest enemy on this planet. And you're killing the planet too. And you don't really know how to navigate in the planet because for you, everything is technology. For you, everything is not the planet. You don't even know what you're doing. And when you are amongst the animals, you want to kill them and then hang them in your living rooms. Y'all are foreign. The rest of the world, everybody else on this planet understood how to live with the earth. Y'all the only ones coming in here chopping down everything, burning down everything. Y'all are not in sync with the rest of the planet. And the sun hates you. You burn in the sun. That's why y'all wrinkle. That's why y'all needed us to be enslaved because our skin could take it. You white people couldn't be out in the sun for 6 hours every day on a plantation. You die. You die. The truth. I'm here for the truth. Thank you kindly. Continue to like this video. Continue to share this video. I'm not an American. Okay. Lux, your comments are not adding to the conversation. Thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. Check them. Check them. Although, encourage it. Encourage it, Yolanda. Please. My blood pressure is what my blood pressure is. I am calm. I actually feel like I'm in service right now. This is actually better than me having rational, cogent conversations. No, I'm much better with trolls. Trolls, I'm like, yes, let's go. I'm here for the trolls. Bring on the trolls. Someone hit a nerve. Yeah, they did. White people believe that colonized children have magical hands and love being employed in sweatshops to be able to provide the bare minimum for the family so they feel better when they donate to these. Yes. So that's also a vicious cycle of the white hope industrial complex. Yes. All of that, right? Because you need for Black people to continue to be subservient. The optics need to look like they are subservient, and in actuality, they need to be subservient. So when you look at the org charts of different organizations, it is what my friend my friend Michael, my God, I can't remember, Michael Wiggins, one of my key mentors, he was called them snow-capped. So as you get towards the top, the C-suite, the top of the organization where all the power is, the wider it gets. Because in optics and in actuality, Black people need to be subservient. So who's sweeping the doors? Who's holding the floors? Who's holding the doors and sweeping the floors? Black people. You go to Fendi, Gucci, Prada. Who's there? Who's there to guard the door? A Black person. Because again, we live in an apartheid state that we're not able to actually recognize, admit to ourselves. We live in an apartheid state. I know this because I'm a teacher. I go to Whole Foods down the block on 125th Street. Who's bagging my groceries? My former students. Or their parents. The parents of my former students are bagging my organic cucumbers and my dill and my kale. We live in an apartheid state. So the optics are Black people subservient, Black people subservient, Black people subservient. Let me continue with the comments. Boo racism. It's not just a boo, it's racism isn't just emotional. What I like to say all the time is racism isn't just emotion. I thank you. Racism isn't just emotional. I thank you, Ethan. I love you. It is economic. So when we get over our pity parties, right? And these tussles with the riot gear and all this bullshit, which I think makes absolutely no sense. The money, where's the money going? The money's still going to YouTube. The money's still going to Facebook. It's still going to Twitter. It's still going to Time magazine and whatever magazine wants to put Breonna Taylor on the cover. It doesn't go to where it needs to go, which is the actual people that are and have been and will continue to be oppressed. And don't tell me about this $12 million fucking settlements as if to say that then solves the issue. No, and I already knew that. Black issues, issues. I already knew that the issue was not about the economic settlements, but it is also about an actual racial reckoning and preventing from those incidents from continuing to happen. See, that they won't do. $12 million, cut a check, whatever, who cares? All right. Don't be basic in your thinking, be human. Let's be human. Exactly. We gotta evolve. And I need white people to evolve as well. Y'all gotta really, I think Black people, the reason why, if you want to answer the question of what do you think of the minorities and they're shooting each other? You want to know why? Because they're Africans in America. They're adhering to the American ideals, which is violence. Cowboy movies, shoot 'em up movies. Hello, America is violence. They are thinking only about the American side of themselves and have forgotten the African side of themselves. The African side, we are the original people. We are the master teachers. We were here before everybody else. And we're trying to teach you white people how to calm down. Do you understand that even with the racial oppression, even with knowing that we are going to be killed by the cops or by other Black people, we still look younger? We still look younger. We can still smile. You want to know why? Because of the African part of us. That we can transcend this. We love to sing, we love to dance. And you know what white people did when they figured out that we love to sing and we love to dance and that is our power? You know what they did? They said that means that we are anti-intellectual. That, oh, they're singing and dancing, they're cooning. That's what they did. They made it seem as if singing and dancing was demeaning and more simian or monkey-like than ultimately the most you could be as a human being. So that is part of our power, to sing, to dance, to be free in that way, to occupy as much space as possible. Hello. That is why we don't, like, if we weren't dealing with racial oppression, we'd be flying. We would literally be flying. And we would stay looking like we're 20 until we're like 80 years old. The only reason why we're aging is because y'all are, messing us up. So Black people need to vibrate higher. We need to actually, go back into all of the African ways that have been brainwashed out of us because of a European version of Christianity. Christianity is also African. First of all, when you look at Jesus and you look at Mary, that all comes from Egypt. The throne, the notion of the throne, even the notion of the throne and how the king and the queen sit, all of that has to do with Isis. I'm like, hello. The whole notion of sitting on a throne, all of that. What is a crown? A crown is replicating the halo on top of that. All of that has to do with Ra, the sun god. Like, I'm here for it. I am here for it from my living room. I'm going to start wearing my robe each and every time because it's like, yo, I'm in my living room. Just like there's a Bonnet Chronicles. It's just like, I don't know, robe revolutionary in a robe. I don't know. But it is what it is. Black issues is what it is. Black issues, trying to make sense of an insane world with trolls, one issue at a time. There we go. So let's continue. Where have my shoes gone? Okay, so see the trolls. That's what they do because that's all y'all can do because y'all can't actually look in the mirror and see your own flaws and say, this is how I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to make myself 1% better every day. Imagine if white people told themselves that they can be 1% better every day racially in terms of their racial literacy, which is, again, Yolanda. Everybody should follow Yolanda. Racial literacy. If white people challenge themselves, and I should do that too, the racial literacy challenge, to be 1% better every day. Every day, 1% better. Not just in collecting, hoarding information, but actually actualizing it. Actually being that better person based on what you read. Do you know how quickly the world would change? Because you white people are fucking up left, right, and center. But no, y'all want to be on reading lists and have the optics of caring, but then not actually caring, not actually doing much. It's easy to write a check. That's actually easy. Write me a check. I would appreciate it, but it's easy to write a check. It's different to change hearts and minds. Let me get to the rest of your comments. Can we change the name to Black Issues Squared because issues 2 times? No. See, so James, are you a troll or are you not a troll? And I either way, like, if you don't know what I do or what I don't come at people and tell them what to do or what to change until I've researched it first. You actually have no idea what my brand is. Thank you for watching and tuning in, but like, You don't know. Like, what if I have an entire Black story as to like who I am, what I do, and why it is the way that it is? I'm a very intentional person. If you want to know super duper fast, Black Issues is actually a satire. It's a satire for solutions to racial inequality. It's humor to heal the racial divide and have people laughing while they learn. Right now, I'm not my crazy zany satirical character, Rebecca Finch, that I developed 2 years ago as a satire on racial and diversity within the magazine and fashion industry. And it's about Vanity Fair and specifically Condé Nast. And what if Condé Nast had a Black issue? And I said, well, if Condé Nast had a Black issue, what would they call it? Well, they would call it the Black issue. But Black people have a lot of issues. So it would be the Black Issues issue, which each issue of the Black Issue magazine is about a different Black issue. Hence, it's Black Issues. Okay. So sometimes, you know, word to the wise from Canadian Eye Holder, instead of just coming at people and telling them what to do and what you think, like listen first, research first before you right? Before you start telling, right? Because I'm willing to show and to tell, right? But like, you know, sometimes it's like tactics, right? So because then it's like, oh, well, you had no idea. Yeah. And so there you go. That's the whole thing. Ethan, it's been 400 years of touching nerves. Exactly. There's tons of issues. People mad. Don't even know what that is. Base racist 1488. So what is this number 14? Oh, great, Ethan. Great. Bring me on. Great. Yes, condone riots that have harmed. No. Riots are the reason why anything actually happens in this country. The Tea Party was a riot. Didn't they destroy the tea? Okay. Because I actually used to be the director of history at a charter school in New York. So, you know, but like if I remember correctly, they threw all the tea into the water, right? In the Boston Harbor, right? So that's basically looting because you don't allow the property to be utilized. Okay, so how come when you talk about the American Revolution, which was violence, when you talk about the American Revolution, which was the destruction of property, how come that's okay? But then when it's modern day, 2020, all of a sudden, not so much. Okay, again, I'm here for it. Righteous anger that doesn't come out. Yeah. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And again, I can be way more articulate than I am right now. I have words. I went to, you know, I have a master's degree. You know, I've got fellowships and National Endowment for the Humanities. I have all, like, y'all, a lot of these people who watch, this is why I switched from Facebook to YouTube. So I'm like, let me get it from all different types of people. You just see me in my living room right now with a robe on and a head tie, right? But like, I've had 2 National Endowment for the Humanities fellowships. I've been published several times. Like, all of these different things, but none of it matters because as far as some people are concerned, I'm a schizophrenic monkey. So that's why I don't even come with that, because I think that unfortunately Black people get into the rat race of another degree, another fellowship, another more letters at the back of their name. I'll move to this next zip code. It's never ending what Black people think that they need to do in order to then be accepted. And I reject all of it because none of that matters, right? So, for example, Dr. Yolanda Celia Ruiz is a postdoctoral fellow from Ford Foundation and is associate professor of English at Columbia University, right? Teachers College, right? I know I just laid out your whole resume, Yolanda, right? But who cares? You know what I'm saying? She's not beholden to all of those titles to sit there and say, well, respect me now. She's smart enough to know that what she needs to do is to open up the doors for everybody to have these conversations about racial literacy and how white people, Black people, everybody shows up in the world. Because there's Black people like the Black Attorney General from Louisville, Kentucky, the same place that had Muhammad Ali, who's talking that shit. Who, you know, again, because white people control the narrative because white is right, you know, he's basically saying, hey, you know, the shooting was justified. And he's Black saying all of that foolishness. So, you know, again, I'm here for it because it is Black issues. Ching! Cheers to that. Let me get to some more of your comments. Again, Black Issues on Cash App, Black Issues on Venmo, Black Issues on GoFundMe. Continue to like this video. All I need is to be Shalom God. Okay. Schizophrenic monkey. I appreciate all. I have never ever felt more alive than I do right now because I have been called a schizophrenic monkey. That means I'm doing my job. That means I am here for it. Keep bringing it. Keep bringing it. You know what I'm saying? I can put on lip gloss or I cannot put on lip gloss. And that's what I'm talking about. It's not about how pretty you are. It's not about how eloquent you are. None of that matters. None of it. That's why the optics are what they are. I'm here in my living room with a robe on. Boom. Please read the comments. What do you think of police who respond to 911? I already talked about that I do believe that we do need police. 9/11, that was meant to be September 11. Okay. I'm not a troll. You could be a troll. We love China. Are you a Protestant? The KKK, kitchen clunge, and chlamydia. Jacob Blake was justified. Yeah. So you see this, Yolanda, or whoever else is watching? I'm just getting trolled. And I am here for it. I am here for it. I appreciate it. This is great. This is absolutely great. Share it out to more of your trolls. Go put it on Reddit. Put it everywhere. Put it for Trump. Put it. You know what I'm saying? Go on. Do it. I love it. Do it. Buy my mugs and then throw my mugs down. Yeah. Here's my mug. Black Issues Issues. Buy the mug and then break it and then put it on a video on TikTok and then tag me and say, fuck her, fuck this monkey, schizophrenic. Yeah, put all of that. Buy the mug. I'm going to put the link now. So buy the mug. I want you to do that. Buy the mug. Black Issues. Who's this woman? Black. She's black. She's talking about white people and how they're going to burn in the sun. She's black. She's crazy. Yeah. Buy the mug and crack it and then upload this video too and say, hate her. Yeah, do it. I love it. Do it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it all. Do it. Call me a monkey. Go on. Bring it. It doesn't affect me at all. So call me a monkey. Do all of that. All of it. I'm going to get to more of your comments. I'm going to put the link to my mug. Oh no, that's the link to my YouTube video. No, not that. The mug. Teespring. Hold on 1 second. Teespring. Black Issues Issues. Let's see. In 3, 2, 1. I already had the link before, but I'll just put it again, But yeah, I'm going to get to your comment in 1 second. I'm just going to cut and paste that there. Yeah, buy a mug, break it, and put a video up. Black Issues Issues. I can't believe that she's doing that. She's so racist. Do it. Do it. Buy the mug. It's only $13. Buy it, break it, put a video up of me, make me look like a monkey. Do it. Go on and do it. Black Issues Issues. You have my permission. We love China. Do you have Discord? Would love to have a conversation on Black Issues Issues at some point. I don't have Discord. That's a little bit too in the weeds for me. Like, I'm new to even doing YouTube, so don't have that. There's a white person behind you. I'm sure there is. Yeah. And I know who he is. He's a former whatever he is. I know. Yeah, if you want to hear him, we can. And then the person that I have doing some of my social media, he was supposed to send out an email blast, and I don't think he did yet. So annoying. I swear to you. To find a team of people that can actually do what you need them to do. So annoying. So fucking annoying. Hi. In future, please get back to me. And clarify whether you can or can't do something, because if this much time elapses, then maybe I can just figure out how to do it myself. But time is always of the essence, and I really appreciate clarity. And now, it might be too late for me to send out the email blast. I swear, I need help. I'm just annoyed. Are you a Protestant? Scum. No. Would you rather Yiddish or worldwide China? No, I would rather you buy my mug. That's what I would rather. Buy my Black Issues mug. Yeah, that's what I'd like. by my mug. And I know my glasses are slipping. There you go. That's what I'd like. But if you can put my link, my YouTube link to Discord, please do that. But I don't think I've ever been on Discord. I know about Reddit, but I haven't been on Discord. I'm so sorry. I'm a broke white person. Must be racism. No, must be luck. Like Black people have an excuse to be poor. White people have no excuse. It's like, what? You're Black and you're poor? Like, you're white and you're poor? Like, you need to go talk to God. Like, hello? What happened? This is such a waste of whiteness. Come on now. You're white. Figure that out. You can do anything. You're white. You can do anything. That's not my fault. Figure that out. Oh, Jesus Christ. Just reading. Yeah. Oh, it's racism with Black people, but not racism. Yes, darling, because that's how racism works. Racism is when racism is prejudice plus power, the power to change the trajectory of a person's life. So in that equation, white people are always in power and in control. And usually what they've done statistics that a Black person and a white person can apply for the same job with the same amount of credentials, or even worse, a Black person could have more credentials than the white person, right? A Black person could apply with a PhD or a master's degree. A white person can apply with a high school diploma, and the white person will still get the job. So no, that actually is the truth, you know? And by today's economic standards, it's going to take 220 years for the average wealth of a white person to Black person to catch up to the average wealth of a white person. So can we speak through some medium at some point? I'm very interested in your views. Yeah, you can email me BlackIssuesIssues@gmail.com. That, you know, my YouTube is BlackIssuesIssues. So it's BlackIssuesIssues@gmail.com. And that's that. BlackIssuesIssues. That's it. All one thing @gmail.com. Sure. And tell me what that is just incorrect. Yeah, of course, because when it comes to the actual truth, the only thing that you can do is to discredit it and gaslight it, because again, it's inconvenient that white people are being portrayed and rightfully so as the problem, because you're so used to, from the time that you're an embryo to the time that you die, that white people are the victors. White people are also the victims. White people are pure and they're beautiful. Thank you to Disney and Warner Brothers and all these other multinational corporations that continue to perpetuate white people being right. And so for you to then hear that there's anything wrong with white people, you can't handle it. And the only thing you can do is to call that person out and say that they are a liar. Christopher Columbus never set foot in actual United States. Never did. Most white people don't know that. And most people, period, don't know that, because white people control the narrative. So whatever the narrative is what white people want to be said and heard. And so that's what it is. But that's the case. So it's like, well, why are we celebrating Christopher Columbus? And he was a rapist, and he killed off indigenous people. He was hard, and he stole their gold, right? Right? But, you know, shame on these looters right now. Shame on them. Black issues is not just Black issues. Of course not. It's a lot of white issues. It's a lot of white issues. It sure is. It's not the truth. Black people are given preference for jobs, university places, housing. Well, why do you think that is? Again, let's do a little history lesson. I used to be the director of history at a high school, right? Like, excuse me, it was at a middle school and elementary school. I was the director of arts at a high school. But either way, you know, whatever, right? You know, I'm just a little schizophrenic monkey in my living room, right? Like, you don't know who I am. You haven't Googled me. And the fact that I, again, have been published. I have fellowship with the Colin Powell Center for Policy Study. I've sat on the couch with Henry Kissinger. I've done all those things. I'm a monkey in my living room. So again, it's racism against white people. No, it's not. Again, let's do a little history lesson here. Okay, let me find the timeline here. It's coming up. Okay. 1619. Okay, the first enslaved people are brought into Virginia. Okay, so you have all of these years where Black people weren't even paid for their labor. You remember slavery? We weren't paid at all. We weren't able to accrue any type of wealth, whether that be owning land or even owning owning other enslaved people, because white people were bequeathed slaves and that counted as money, right? They could accrue wealth by trading enslaved people. Okay, so all of that was happening. Women couldn't own property, but they could own enslaved people. Again, the National Endowment for the Humanities Fellowship, one that I did get, I got two. One that I got, I actually was about abolition. Abolition means the ending of slavery, and suffrage, which means, women getting the right to vote. Specifically both movements in Brooklyn. So I got to sit at the Brooklyn Historical Society, and I actually got to hold a bill of sale of an enslaved Black man who was 45 years old that was sold to the women of the Vanderbilt family and the New Lots family and 2-3 other white families that have streets named after them in Brooklyn. Okay, so it was women. So you couldn't own property. You couldn't own like a house or land, but a white woman could own property, meaning an enslaved person. You can own that Black man. You can own him. So let's think about that. So how many years Black people were not able to, in any way, shape, or form, accrue wealth, right? Then you had redlining, and you had all these other ways in which Black people were discriminated against in terms of getting loans for a home, okay? The GI Bill, okay? There's all these other ways in which stimulus was given to white families for the Homestead Act, white families for them to settle all across the country. So you all were at an advantage and then got more advantages, right? And Black people were cut out of all of those programs. And so maybe, maybe by like 1980, they start to say, you know what, it's been very unequal. Let's start to equal out the opportunities. Let's start to give Black people some opportunities. And then you white people don't want that either. Just tell the truth, white people. You don't want Black people to have anything. Just tell, I would appreciate that. Just tell the truth. You don't want Black people to have, that's the truth. Just say it. I say the truth, which is the sun is going to kill y'all, that y'all are inherently, into the past and into the future racist, right? I just tell my truth. It's the truth. It is the truth. There are some white people that are waking up to their whiteness, right? Right? And I'm not saying that all white people are this way. There's a phenomenon of whiteness, this way of thinking where you feel like you own everything and you're owed everything and you can steal everything that you want, right? And you can control the narrative and lie and defend this narrative under all costs, right? Whiteness, right? That's it, right? But when you look at it, I'm actually telling the truth, right? So I'm asking you white people who are racist and trolling me to just tell the truth. You don't want Black people to have those jobs. You don't want Black people to have the money. You don't want Black people to move into your neighborhood. Just say it. Just say it. I think that that's part of it too. Y'all just don't say it. And y'all hold so much in. That's why y'all age. That's why y'all get wrinkles. That's why y'all look horrible. By the time you're 30, y'all look horrible. Because y'all hold so much in. You're living a lie. And the sun attacks you. And that's it. You're telling a lie. Okay, what sounds like BLM to me? No, it doesn't. I perceive BLM. I'm not even a BLM. See, you don't even know. You don't even know who you're talking to. I'm not even BLM. I have been an activist for over 20 years. Before the Black Lives Matter movement, I was doing what I was doing. Black Issues is 2 years old. Black Lives Matter movement is 6 years old. I have been doing this since I was an embryo, actually, for 40 years. So I just want you to leave. Well, how did I get here? How did Black people get to this country called America? How did we get here? I'm going to shut up, because what it is people I'm just going to shut up. Answer my question. How did Black people get here? You want me to leave? How did Black people get here? That's not how aging works. Okay, I asked the question. Yes, it does. Aging works because of the sun. Sun ages you. Sun ages you and stress ages you. And because you all don't have melanin, your skin is going to be way more drastically affected by the sun. That's why y'all get skin cancer and melanoma and you age. Black people don't really get, it takes a lot for us to get sunburn. We don't get sunburn. Again, answer my question. I'm good. I'm good for this. Answer the question. How did Black people, you want Black people, or you want me to leave? How did Black people get to America? Answer the question. And I'm going to be silent until the question's answered, because I got things to do. So let me just answer the question. That's all. Simple. You are the only American here. Again, didn't answer the question. See, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, the sun's killing me in England. Yeah, because the sun doesn't shine that brightly in England. Hello, I've been to London. I've been to London. So the sun rarely comes out. That's why they have the brand called London Fog. Again, I'm here for it. Again, like, I'm knocking out racism. Y'all are not making any sense whatsoever. And that's the thing. The only thing you can do is insult or say that the other person's lying, but you can't come with facts. London Fog, it's a whole brand. What are you talking about? None of this. The sun is rather hot in England. That's a lie. You've been to London. You know the entire UK. Doesn't matter. Y'all don't get as much sun when you're over there in Europe. When you do get the sun, it ages you prematurely. Look at white people in Florida. They're fit, or when they go to on holiday, and their skin is like this. Like, listen, y'all are just whatever it is, but you can continue. Jesus Christ. Continue. They're so white. You're a base chat. Okay. He was talking. All right. So whoever wants to, continue this, y'all can continue to comment outside of the space. It's been really fun. Bring on the trolls. It's been really fun having the trolls on with me today, keeping me company, live from my living room productions. Black issues, literally trying to make sense of an insane world, one issue at a time. I'm your host, Kanani Aya Holder, Black Issues, or AKA Schizophrenic Monkey. I'm here to be the anti-racist personal trainer to knock out racism. I did some pull-ups today. Y'all trained me a little bit today. That's great. I did some reps, pump some iron, so it's been fun. It's been real. Took my B12, not stressed out at all. I look like a troll. Thank you. It amazes me when people insult me, because it's just like, it doesn't affect me at all. Because when you are confident in who you are and you're sovereign, you don't look to outside forces to reify who you are internally. I already know who I am. I'm a child of God. I'm gorgeous. I'm beautiful. I'm brilliant. I'm smart. I'm talented. I am infinite. I am beyond all of you. So y'all can sit there and continue to insult me into infinity. All it does is prove my point that white people have to vibrate higher than constantly spewing out negativity. Look at yourselves. What can you do to improve yourself instead of constantly having to feel like you need to have that underdog. You need to keep Black people beneath you. Why? That's my question. Why? I've got a crack addiction. Congratulations. Y'all white people are dying of heroin overdoses, by the way. Silent on that one. Tell me about that. Tell me about the heroin crisis that's mostly white. Tell me, and suburban. Tell me about that right now. Let me hear about that. Like that if life is so good, you know, like why the heroin? But you're not going to answer that question because you're not about actually answering questions. But again, if you look at the heroin epidemic right now, that is disproportionately white. If you look at suicide right now, that is disproportionately white. Take care of your own. How else I meant to reach to the top shelf? Well, white people are addicted to heroin. Yeah, they are. In America, they are. Again, as far as you all are concerned, you all want to get as close to white right and white people are perfect and Black people are wrong as much as possible. And you don't want us to exist. You don't want us to be anywhere. You just want us to be silent and work for you for free. I mean, that's basically, and to entertain. That's basically what that is. You know, horse tranquilizer, ketamine. So again, thank you all for watching and tuning in to Black Issues. Literally trying to make sense of it. It's ketamine. Thank you. Trying to make sense of it. I know that, ketamine. Trying to make sense of an insane world, one issue at a time. I'm your host, Canadian holder of Black Issues. No matter what is happening in the world, continue to maintain your sanity and be smart, sharp, and savvy. Thank you, trolls. And thank you, everybody else who's watching. Continue to support Black Issues. Continue to like this video. Continue to subscribe to this video. And you all can support Black Issues by donating to Cash App, Venmo, and GoFundMe, all Black Issues. And you all can support by buying a mug. And for the trolls and the racists, you all can break a mug. Break a mug and say, look at that schizophrenic monkey. Make my day. So thank you all for watching and tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of the everything. PG tips. Yes, all of that. Continue. Love it all.